Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Shot clock now at 6. Cadeau makes his move. And that was sneaky. Cadeau with a chance for 3. Caravan, ball fake. Locks it up. Caravan knocks it down. He worked hard on that play to get open. His jump shot is off, but he recognized where it was going. Takes the baseline, nearly turns it over. Swing it. Caravan. Look at what a field by Smith. Smith matched up with Cadeau. Ravi sets the screen. Oh, he squeezes through for the pretty deuce. Trying to put the pressure on. Smith cracks the code. Mullins got a 3. What a killer. And who provided the lift? Smith kept the dribble alive. Off the drive, McKinney sets the feet, fires, connects. A big one for McKinney. Broken play, but what a find. Leg to the floor, layup doesn't go. Ball knocked around, slung down the floor. Caravan trying to track it down, and he will. And it's over. Hail to the champions. Hail to Michigan. For the first time in 37 years, the Wolverines win the national title.
Good morning. Welcome in. Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Nextgen Male Medical. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. What's up, DB?
L3.
What's going on? What are we drinking this morning?
Topo Chico.
Okay.
Topo Chico with a twist of lime. So my sister, the bougie one in California, Miss San Rafael, is very particular about her water.
Okay.
So when she goes to my mom's for like holidays and stuff, she brings her own case.
Fair. You know.
So my mom has an excess of Topo Chico.
There you go.
That ain't wet.
So when I go to my mother's, as you know, I am a very big carbonated, sparkly water guy.
Yeah, it's true.
And I could go there in another year and the same amount of waters would be there. So I'm just going to go ahead and relieve her of that.
I'm trying to see where we're getting it from Monterrey, Mexico here. I was getting kind of like you go to Mexico and get like a soda, like a glass.
It's not what I would get from Mexico, but you can have your soda.
Well, sure. I mean, you got to hydrate a little bit.
Do you? I drink plenty of water. That's kind of been the change with Nextgen.
Yeah, a lot more water.
Yeah, I was challenged by the folks over there to grow up. I mean, when she gave me when she said 120 ounces, I was like, that's not happening.
Yeah, that's an aggressive amount of water.
But I can figure it out. I can figure it out.
Well, yeah, you just get a little competitive with it.
Yeah. I thought of you yesterday, too, as I was shredding cheese.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Watching the fingers, just trying to keep those things intact?
I got it.
Did you? Oh, man, you got to see.
Yeah. Special. I'm actually going to invest in that wheel turner.
Oh, yeah, those are nice.
Yeah, and we shred so much cheese.
Yeah, definitely worth it.
Like I'm a big, not a blockhead, but a block guy.
Yeah,
like ALO block.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing that. Yeah, but I had vacuum sealed the excess.
I thought it was AO black.
Block. We keep saying, some people say Blockowitz for Dylan, and I'm like, Blackowitz? Just call him Black. It's a good pitcher. It's Black.
Simba, I'm very disappointed.
I'm black and I'm hoping.
I'm black and I'm hoping.
It's fine. I'm Blackowitz and I'm hoping.
I got a little nervous on playing that one that time.
Did you?
Why?
I don't know.
As if you're not inappropriate every day.
I'm black and I'm hoping.
I mean, we've been playing that one for a while.
Yeah, and that's the least of our concerns. Headley, my food storage it's outstanding.
TK says I'm drinking a factory's worth of Juaritos if I go to Mexico. I think that's the soda, the like Mexican fruit soda.
Oh yeah, not doing
Juaritos.
So
Juaritos.
Now wait a minute.
No.
Puerto Rican on you?
Juaritos.
Ri.
I can't roll my R's.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah.
Wow, awful judgy McJudgy over there. I'm a little perturbed with you, Rico, but I'm gonna let you off the hook.
What'd Rico do?
It's gonna sound a little morbid, but you heard the conversation.
Oh.
I asked him why he doesn't check on me when he sees me just sitting in my vehicle.
I looked at you and you moved. You were moving, and I gave you a little piece, but I had to come up here to set up.
I could have been convulsing. How do you know I'm okay?
You were looking at your phone.
I am not okay.
Also, if you were convulsing, I would have been able to tell.
I was trying to get one last song through my Spotify.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
No Pat the producer this morning?
no, because I forgot.
Mm.
I was involved in music, but I need to figure out the difference between the Android Auto and just using my phone.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go. I'm not quite a pro.
Mm.
It's quite the conundrum to know, like, if I play like a TikTok through,
Mhm.
like sometimes the radio still plays, sometimes the radio goes down lower and the TikTok plays, sometimes I hear just the TikTok. I'm like, are we is this live or is this Memorex? Like, what are we doing?
Have you started paging through that owner's manual yet?
No, I still can't turn off the low tire pressure thing.
Is it because you have low tire pressure?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Because generally that's the best way to get that to turn off.
See, I don't appreciate that. See, that's the delivery.
What?
A long time ago, when I had to change the back tire, it never reset.
Okay.
So
you just take that thing to the dealership. Be like, hey,
you already tried to get your low key joke in already.
I was just asking.
Is that because you have low tire pressure? No, it's not.
Maybe they didn't pump it up all the way.
Pump. So you know what I need? I need to get Jimmy Neutron on this. No, the chat will know.
What?
I need the people, the real affordable people that put the little filler in your windshield before it turns into a crack.
Oh, yeah.
I need those people.
Gotcha.
Let's get an endorsement going. Lord knows I'll pretend to run into enough things to crack my.
I don't think you'll pretend to. I think you just kind of have a history, don't you?
No, I had to dodge a guy at Costco the other day, and he was like, "Oh, sorry." I said, "Don't worry. I try to make a living making guys miss. That's why I'm here today." Wasn't very good at it.
I mean, to be fair, at 52, you'd probably be here regardless of if you were good at it or not.
Yeah. So you guys are kind of on this old thing.
I'm not saying you're old. I'm saying
Kobe,
there's
like I don't.
No, there's just no running backs playing at 52.
My movements and actions aren't indicative of somebody that's.
I would agree. I would agree. You move better than I do.
So I'm like, I don't appreciate. Hey, how is our numbers today? Because you kind of have some droopy eyes. How are the numbers?
Number was okay.
Where's the thing that tells you on your phone?
Oh, my numbers? No, we're all right. I thought you meant like our.
Are we in the 80s?
Show numbers? No, we're doing okay.
Oh, show's decent. Wait till we get a phone. Whew, game changer. Are we in the 80s?
No, we're in normal range. I had to eat some.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Well, you're eating early.
Yeah, well, we were heading down, but I caught it before.
Where we at?
We're at 152. We're okay.
Oh,
I caught it before we got too far.
So, Rico, I work with a guy that said, "Oh, we're okay. We're at 152." And 3 days ago, the number was half of that, minus 20.
That day was tough. Wasn't my fave.
Ravi, take care of yourself.
I'm trying, man. It's hard.
The nerve.
To this day.
It's tough out here, man.
Hi, Deontay. I think
Don't let the beatus get you.
you have to stop breaking up the show. I feel like all the whistles in last night's game, you're breaking up the flow of the game.
Oh, my bad.
Jeez, we're trying to have show flow here. Shane with his drops and like random whistles.
Get to the chopper!
What time did that game get over? I have no idea because I watched one shining moment. I know.
10:20?
Couldn't have been.
I mean, they were on the air doing post game for a long time before one shining moment.
Yeah, I can do without that, but I'm not. I
think it was about
told
10:20.
myself 3:30 this morning. I'm not gonna talk about people that don't watch the sport. It's very hard.
Do we have some drama last night on the internet?
I
What happened?
I just need
Let's
to
let it out. What happened?
No, I need to grow up. One thing I can't stand. I'm like this on message boards. I'm like this with guys that used to play, that try to do this job and inform. I'm like this with everybody.
Okay.
I think you have a responsibility, if you're going to disseminate information, to be as accurate as possible, unless you're saying, in my opinion.
Fair.
Just because people hang on to words and stuff,
Sure.
and then later on they get mad at you when it doesn't go that way, and they say, well, the media said, and I'm like, no, that's that idiot over there. Stop listening to that dude, right? So like, we kept getting this narrative last night, and I thought it was super disrespectful to UConn.
Okay.
And to Michigan as well, right? Where because Michigan was within 4 at the half, you wanted us to believe they were playing well. They were playing like dog manure, as was Michigan. You guys just expected Michigan to be able to hit the X button, but neither team was playing well.
No.
Because what happens is, this is the total competitor in me. I hate when we act like somebody should just be happy to do something in competition. Oh, man, you'd be happy to be in this game. I mean, if this and this and this, and that's also my favorite. Well, such and such isn't even playing well. Imagine if they play well. Hey, how about not? That's not how sports work. I don't know why people say that. Oh, such and such isn't even playing well. Can you imagine? No, I can't. Because you know what happens in competition? You seldom see both teams play to their capability. The joy and excitement in watching is what happens when they don't. It would be extremely boring sometimes if you got the results that you expected due to performance. Like, oh man, boy, if Yaxel plays well, you know what? He's not. He's not. You know what? If Reed could finish around the rim, it might have been a different. You know what? He's not.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, I hate when people do that. Hey, can you imagine? Listen, if the Patriots would have played like that in the second half against the Falcons, it wouldn't have been a game. Oh, Mahomes wasn't even playing well in that first half. Can you imagine if Mahomes played well? No, I can't. Like, when you compete, you don't always get best case scenarios. Well, if such and such and such and such did this, it would be like this. Yeah, it's a good thing we let the game play out. It is like, is that me? Like,
No.
I cannot stand that. And it's always from people that have never done shit.
The one that drives me crazy is we act like this happened with the Florida-Iowa game, right? People are like, oh, Florida played terrible. I was like, it's because of Iowa.
Oh, man. It's
right.
Just,
like, they act like one is independent of the other. And it's like that. I can't tell you how many times I was like, that's because that's what Iowa does to you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I thought. UConn kind of made a concerted effort to play this game in a certain style.
Ben, I know why you think that's an oversimplification. It's an oversimplification because that's how you talk. And I'll leave, like, that's it. What I'm describing is exactly how you arrive at those super linear conclusions. That's why it seems like an oversimplification. I'm just serious. Like, if we like I'm willing to take some self-inventory and I'm even saying maybe it's a me thing. So you have to ask yourself, is there anything that he's saying that is remotely true in my delivery? Right? We like just yesterday, for example, BP, it was, well, if Arizona, it might not have been that way if they had better shooters. Like, here's the deal. Elliot Cadeau shot 40-some% from three. He's not a 40-some% three-point shooter. He did things in the moment that is what makes sports. Like, sometimes people don't perform to how you think they would perform, and sometimes people outperform how you think they would perform. That's the beautiful thing about sports. There is no oversimplification. I'm just arriving at the conclusion without the contingencies. Well, that's because, and I'm not like, that's just not my deal. But
it's sort of similar to a thing I think that bothers you a lot when people, I think you call it apologize for winning, or it's like, oh, well, yeah, well, they didn't have this guy and they didn't have this guy and whatever. It's like, well, and they turned the ball over a bunch. It's like, yeah, well, you still had to go out and win.
Yeah.
Right. Like, well, it's the people we see with Nebraska football. Well, Nebraska only has made it to back-to-back bowl games because the schedule is so easy. Yeah. Like
well,
that's the thing we always hear.
Or
right?
what? Or to the other way, like what would drive me crazy about the one-loss scores?
It's like, well, if they had done this,
yeah,
this, and this.
But they didn't.
It's like, yeah.
Right? See, at some point you have to do that.
And also, they didn't. This isn't like a one-off, right? Like in that situation, this was a thing that kept happening. Obviously, it wasn't a bug; it was part of the system, right? Like it wasn't a one-off; it was just how they were wired. I
think I hate when we kind of dumb down the fact that like humans are the greatest variable on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's always makes it interesting. You know, it's like, especially in sports,
yeah,
because there's the magnitude of the moment, there's fatigue, there's dealing with the injuries, there's just overall competitive stamina. Like it's not just I'm going to play at my maximum capacity and let's see what happens.
And you're also dealing with all of those factors that you just described with the 4 other people on the floor with you at the same time, which dramatically impacts whether you look like you're maxing out as well.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, exactly, Chuck. Like the whole injury, like every 5 seconds during the broadcast, I didn't need to know that Yaxel was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's part of it. And at some point, like he played every minute in the first half. He played every minute. He played all 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So when were we going to turn the page from that? Did anybody watch Demry Jr. try to move?
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Did anybody watch Demry Jr.? Like he could barely function.
Yeah.
And nobody said, oh God, man, if Demry could just get more lift, or Demry doesn't have.
Demry was healthy if he could get off that first step.
Like nobody said that.
No.
Like nobody said that. So it's just like man. Part of being able to win championships or anything is you have to be able to overcome injury. You have to be able to overcome when you don't have your A game. Like, have you ever heard me say what's your 70% like?
Mm-hmm.
So it's more of a personal thing for me.
Yeah.
Than it is generally like how I want the royal we to think. I'm telling you what annoys me when we have these conversations, because part of the brilliance of sports is navigating when you're not on your A game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's fantastic. Like one of the things I could appreciate from Yaxel was, man, I suck right now. Like I'm not very good.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the only reason he alluded to his injury is because he was asked about it.
Yeah.
She asked, hey, how you feeling? He's like, man, I'm weak as hell.
Yeah.
You know, which, okay, cool. We moved on from that. But I also watched a guy that had missed X amount of minutes against Florida,
mm-hmm.
and came back the first 2 of the 3 shots he took, he made threes. And he was more injured
than
he was last night.
Mm-hmm.
So like I like for me, I'm like, God, you know what? I'd have loved to have been healthy in 96 against Texas.
Yeah.
You know what? We weren't. Right? Like
that one comes out a lot. That one comes up a lot.
But we weren't though. See, that's part of
mm-hmm.
it.
Oh,
like,
we didn't have the flu.
Managing your body. Like,
mm-hmm.
what are you doing? Like that's part of it. So it's like when he said that, that's the first time I actually was like, I think I might be able to rock with you.
Because you weren't loving his press conference moments or his like post game.
He's disrespectful.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I haven't been a fan.
He is super disrespectful, and I thought he was like just lacked self-awareness.
All the giggling and weirdness and
yeah, man. I mean, like you're gonna be 24. Like, chill the frick out.
You're the old man on this team.
But
most teams.
But I did appreciate. At least I knew where he was coming from. It's a lot like Hurley, right? Where I don't have to love the end result, but I do like to know what I'm dealing with.
For sure. And
so when he says, man, it's kind of disrespectful, man. You putting kids on me. All right, we'll go to work, big fella.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm watching this thing play out last night, and people, it's 4. This game is going the way UConn wants it to. Sure, in a couple of aspects. It's a low possession game. It's extremely choppy. But believe me, they didn't want 11 fouls with 2 minutes to go, and you're missing your starting backcourt for 9 minutes. So, like, give them credit too, but without ignite, they're not playing well.
Yeah.
You think they wanted to shoot 15 threes in the first half?
No.
Oh, but they made 5 threes. Do you know why they were getting looks from 3? Because they were playing volleyball in the paint, and Terrace Reed couldn't throw it in the ocean.
Yeah.
They tried to go in the post. It wasn't near as effective as they wanted it to. But, I don't know. Sometimes I think like I'm asking for too much to get that. I suppose, oh, man, if Michigan does this, then this is, no bleep. But they're not.
You mean if Michigan hit a 3-pointer before 12 minutes left in the game, that
like
it might
that
not have
happens.
been that close? If they hit a 3-pointer at any point in the first 28 minutes, that it might not have been that close.
God. I don't know.
We don't talk about that part, though.
It's very selective because we have an expected outcome.
Yeah.
We didn't think that UConn was very good going in.
Yeah.
Generally speaking. We said things like lucky to be there, and I can't,
I think we look at the Duke result, the 19-point comeback, the buzzer beater, and we're kind of like,
Yeah, you think Duke's not watching that game thinking,
oh, we could hang with Michigan better than that.
We're better than Michigan. Look how they're playing.
Yeah.
But they didn't get there. You know what I mean?
Also, like,
but I would listen to that discussion.
But also, you have no idea what, let's say Duke does get there. You have no idea if Duke's going to play this way also. Like, we've seen, how many of these championship games have we seen where both of the teams play like this?
Yeah.
Like, they just don't play well.
There's those rare occasions where the game lives up to the billing.
Like North Carolina Villanova was an incredible game. I know that's not a great result for you, but that's an incredible game.
It was a well-played game.
Really well-played game.
It's a well-played game.
There are some of those, but a lot of them look like this, right? That's why the over at 144 yesterday, where like 90% of the money was crazy.
Yeah, that was, and sure enough, I was like, I don't know about the whole over thing. Like, 94% of the people are on the over, and that line didn't budge.
Safe as a kitten. It went up late. It went up to 146.5 late, like an hour. It was
never really in question.
No, not at all.
It was never really in question. It's like,
that thing was safe as a kitten.
We talk about, if Michigan would have done this, then the game would have looked like this, or what. Michigan only turned the ball over 6 times.
Which, for the way that UConn is like relentless on defense, like that's pretty impressive.
So we could talk like they took care of the ball.
Can I say I know you kind of made a joke about the whistles earlier. That's how you have to officiate UConn.
So I didn't love the fact that we acted like we hadn't seen that before. Because what was driving me crazy, if you're gonna blow it, blow the damn thing. But I hate the whole figure out how to do the loose ball thing, like whether it's going to be a tie up, and call it. So UConn has this is what it seemed like was happening. UConn has a style of play.
Yep. Drives me crazy. I hate it.
Okay. Going into this game, though, keep it a buck. Who would you have said was the more physical team between the two?
Michigan.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't officiated that way.
No. But
like I'm watching guards get underneath dudes and tap. There's a play, and Cadeau ended up getting the run out. Solo ball is coming off a screen. I didn't want to come across as a guy because I wanted to be right about the cover, but I didn't really care who won. Right. So I didn't want to tweet it out because I was still mad at what the narrative was surrounding UConn, because I've seen them play well before. Cadeau, so solo ball is coming off a little pin down. It's a flare down. Ball's coming from the baseline. He gets the pin down from Reed. He comes around a second screen. It's just like a little flare. And Cadeau pushes him dead in the back to the next defender. And I'm like, 3 plays earlier down the court, we get the ticky-tack call on Demery. He's lost. And I'm thinking, why? Or how about the screen that they called on Reed versus what they didn't call on Johnson? Johnson is the most physical player on the court.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, my man put an ass cheek in his hip, and you call the foul on the little flailing dude. Yet Terrace Reed gives you one of these, and it's like, beep. I'm like, come on, fellas. Like, one is much more egregious than the other. I just want to know what the difference is.
So I don't know if it's on those examples specifically, but to me, the biggest difference between the physicality of Michigan and the style of play of UConn is I think UConn is much more handsy on the ball.
Dude, do you not watch McKinney?
I do.
That's how he plays.
I know. I think in general, I think UConn is super like handsy, slappy, in you on the ball. Michigan's super physical. A lot of their stuff happens off the ball, and refs aren't good at calling that. Like they just never are. And I get that there's overlap there, but like I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that Cadeau does, and I was like, I don't know why he gets away with that ever.
Oh, so that's the thing though.
Yeah.
But that's how Cadeau plays.
It is, but like I don't know why he gets away with that.
That's exactly how Cadeau plays.
Yeah.
Right. And he decided to shoot it well from behind the arc. But I think you got it. One thing we got to really give Cadeau credit for, and I get it, he's most valuable player. His patience with ball screens was relatively new.
Yeah. Because they didn't do a ton of that.
He made a lot of good decisions with the 2-man game.
His control over the pace of their offense was really good.
Yeah, and you see the problem was he could always do that. He's really crafty at getting to the rim, but he couldn't play with Seth Trimble.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of the same person.
Yeah.
So they couldn't really coexist.
Yeah, the overlap wasn't good.
And Cadeau wanted more shots. Now, a lot of that has to do with Hubert's offensive game plan. But can you imagine Cadeau and Trimble? Like, their games are very similar.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd have to have a very unique.
You'd have to give your offense some thought.
Yeah, you'd have to have a pretty thoughtful coach to. Unique's not the right word. Thoughtful is the right word. You'd have to have a pretty thoughtful coach for that to work.
Yeah. So
Hubert obviously wasn't that.
And I'm like, at the end of the game, when Michigan stretched it to like 10, I think they had 3 different guys, maybe 4. So Johnson Jr., McKinney, Cadeau, and who's their other starting guard? Namari.
Burnett.
And who am I missing?
Made a basket.
Burnett didn't. He was over 3.
Was it? So it wasn't Burnett.
It might have been. Was it Gale or McKinney?
Nope, I said McKinney.
Oh, you said McKinney.
They had 4 guys of the 5 score a basket.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they had too many options. Because even when it was mucky and it was super inefficient, who were you going to? Oh, man, we shut down this guy. Cadeau got one. McKinney got one.
Even Yaxel got a couple late, like at the rim.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he didn't shoot the ball well, but he got a couple late at the rim.
So I'm like, you just don't have enough guys you can't turn off their water completely.
Yeah.
Because somebody's going to get you because they're super unselfish.
And I think my favorite player on their team is Morez Johnson.
Dude, he is a menace.
Like he plays so hard.
Yeah. And I mean, good on DeMarinis. This was months ago.
Yeah.
We were talking about pros. And remember, he texted late.
Yeah, he thought Morez was.
And he was like, he's like, you guys are forgetting about Johnson Jr.
Yeah.
And I was like, good call.
Yeah.
And that was, dude, that might have been January.
Yeah, it was December, January, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I think it was right after the stretch where they were playing unbelievable, but like they were still playing really well. So probably early January.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that gets them to 4.
So I have Lendeborg is a pro, like I don't love.
I don't see it.
I don't either. Like
I don't see it.
If you take that guy in the lottery, you're going to be disappointed.
I don't understand.
And somebody's going to take him in the lottery.
I mean, let me process. Help me with this though.
Yeah.
Are they when they look at Yaxel's game, are they thinking he's just going to be able to play bully ball? Because he is a below average ball handler, but he is way above average in terms of his basketball IQ.
And really strong.
Super strong.
Really strong. I wouldn't call him a great athlete, but really strong. I don't know. I think
how is he gonna get shots?
So that's why I say if you're gonna draft him in the lottery, you're gonna be disappointed because he's not probably gonna be able to create a lot of offense as a primary option at the next level.
Okay, let me ask you something.
He might be like a third, fourth option on a swing, then he can do something. But anyway, go ahead.
What's he? So I feel like they have different games, but I felt like the same limitations. Remember I said about Knipple?
Yeah.
Where he's an angle guy, plays angles, elbow down.
There's a big difference, but go ahead.
How is he going to get shots? He's damn near rookie of the year if it's not flag, right?
Yeah, with one of those two for sure.
So I don't think Yaxel's not going to back you down. He's a straight line driver. I'm just trying to see it.
Here's the difference between a guy like Knipple and a guy like
from a ball. I'm just talking like I'm comparing their games in terms of getting to spots on the floor.
So here, the spots on the floor are dramatically easier for Knipple to get to with his strength because you have to stay so honest on the jumper, on the 3-point shot. He had an elite level NBA skill right off the bat. Yaxel doesn't have an elite level NBA skill.
Well, he's not. Well, Sean Livingston was an amazing athlete. Sean Livingston
incredible athlete and incredible positional size.
Dude, he
was bouncy.
God, he was explosive.
Yes. Incredible. And I know we don't care about this, but one of the best mid-range jump shots of all time.
Yeah.
He had elite NBA positional size. He had, before the injury, had elite.
That thing was gross.
NBA, it was horrifying. Elite NBA athleticism. He had an elite NBA skill. I'm counting the mid-range jumper as an elite NBA skill. And he wasn't a bad ball handler. Like, he could handle the ball too. So, like, Sean Livingston's a total outlier.
And I think Yaxel is going to be a below the rim guy too.
Yes, for sure. I don't. That's what I mean. Like, if you take him in the lottery, you're going to be disappointed. I think we expect a certain thing out of a lottery pick, and he's not that.
I'm just wondering how.
Now, if he does the thing that Ant talked about yesterday, where he's like, "Hey, he's just going to kind of fit in and be whatever the team needs to be at that point," like, you might be okay with that. But if you're like, "Hey, I want the guy that's scoring, 15 or 17 points a game like he did the last 2 years, or I want this guy that can create his own shots or be a primary initiator on offense and things like that," that's not who he's going to be at the next level, I don't think.
Yeah, and it was such a poorly played game.
Yeah, it was super choppy.
That I just was enamored by who could endure. Like, that's really, for me.
That's probably the reason I like Maurice Johnson.
Well, I like him for a couple reasons. I got to go back and get some. BP, I'm not disparaging. I'm just going to say this and move on because I never want to come across like this. So if I did, I apologize. It's not a whether you played or not. You don't have to have that as a quantifier with me. I just want you to understand. I just want people to understand kind of. I'm either going to look at it like from one of two ways.
Player or coach.
Player or coach.
Yeah.
I could almost say never. I'm almost never going to be a fan. I don't even care if it's Nebraska football. I don't care if it's Dodgers, but like, I'm not going to be a fan. So we have to, if we're going to have conversations, like, that's got to be the starting point. So I'm not saying I don't want to be a dickhead about that, like disrespectful. I'm not.
Oh, well, and
it's not about credentials. I enjoy learning.
Typically,
that's on me.
If we're having some sort of like disconnect, and I'm like, "Hey, I am a fan," that's how I process a lot of these things.
Changes my.
It changes your demeanor. You're like, okay, because I think a lot of times your default is
because I'm not going to tell you how to think.
Yes, but a lot of times your default is like, and because I did coach too, like, I think sometimes you think, "Oh, why aren't you thinking about this like a coach?" I think about basketball like a coach almost all the time. I don't think about football like a coach most of the time.
It's like, I was talking about, and we're going to talk to Nate ROHR at 9:30, which I'm kind of nervous about.
Why is that?
Nate is a tremendous conversationalist. So I have to, it can get away from me.
Okay.
If I'm not careful.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's like,
yeah,
we could probably talk forever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I have to be me. But it is Nate. And
we got to lock in a little bit.
We could talk, like it's a very good conversation. So to my point is, like, I want to talk about like Coach Ravel and this team, and some of my initial thoughts as I've kind of been watching this softball program since the sit down, and she's very candid with about Bill Moose and their conversation and her job. I'm thinking resolve, roster management, roster construction, and I'm like, I don't know, it's kind of boring with some of the individual great players that they have, but how do I think?
You think about like a coach
and how they like rallied around her.
Yeah.
Right. It changed the trajectory of the program for somebody that had been there for 30 years.
A long time. Yeah. You generally don't see that much of a shift late.
So that's what you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like,
that is a super interesting, like,
so that's my, but it fits my personality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and I remember, like, Shane, do you remember when we had, you won't, but the name sticks out. Do you remember when we had Tobin Echohawk on? We were talking about professional softball, and Tobin was, she was my lab partner at Nebraska. She played softball. I thought the world of her. I was fascinated by the culture and hyphenated last name, and we were always talking about Native American. I know she thought I was crazy, but we got along really, really well. And so the softball thing has been on my brain for 30 years, right? 35-ish years. And I remember she said something to me when Nebraska was playing in the Big 8. And it's like, I could see that, Tim. That I could see that. That's a really good, that's a comp I could see.
I don't buy that comp.
Why?
Boris Diaw had.
I'll finish it.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
That there's no reason Nebraska couldn't be good. Like, she always felt like softball could be dominant because she had a lot of respect for how softball was played in the state, and she wasn't from here.
Yeah.
And she still liked how softball was played in the state. So I was thinking yesterday when I wanted to get Nate, I was like, God, I wonder what she would think now about how softball is played actually within the state of Nebraska. Because it's one of the better high school talent rich sports in the state.
It's probably volleyball. Volleyball and softball are up there.
I still think it's on the national. I think it's still hard to not put football first.
On a national scale, it's almost definitely volleyball. In terms of players playing at super high level programs.
But what about volume?
I'd have to check on the volume. I think volleyball is more consistent year in, year out. I think football kind of goes through these waves. Like, you have some really, really good stretches for football. I think volleyball's been, and I could be wrong here, this is just my perception of it, because I'm not going to pretend like I'm as dialed in on volleyball recruiting as I am as football. Baseball is really good.
Baseball's fantastic.
And has been for a really long time.
Baseball is fantastic.
That's a good call.
Shoot, you know what I wanted to say?
What?
And I've been doing this forever, but I think volume. So I pulled back. I mean, wrestling.
Sure. Yeah.
But anyway, to not to get distracted, but you don't like the Diaw comp because let me just guess.
Yeah, go ahead, guess.
But you have to go back to Diaw coming out. You're struggling with the shooting part.
Nope. I'm struggling. I felt like I thought
because Diaw turned out to be a very, very skilled shooter.
Yes, he did, but he was. I'm thinking Phoenix Diaw. Like, I'm going all the way back.
Okay,
where he was playing 1 through 5.
Fun.
Here's my issue with the comp between Yaxel and Boris Diaw, which we have to be the only show in the country that's mentioned Boris Diaw in multiple shows over the past month. But
I just don't know. I think it's weird that you have the affinity.
I loved him.
I know. It's kind of weird.
But
don't matter to me.
Here's the reason I loved him is I felt like Boris Diaw had like an almost supernatural feel for the game. Like, his just game sense and his ability to manipulate things despite being a subpar athlete and not really having much of a skill set early.
Dude, that's Yaxel.
I don't get, like, I don't think he has a bad sense for the game. Like, I think he's got a good feel for the game.
Oh, man.
But I don't like.
Did you see when they calmed the game down?
Yeah.
He handled the ball.
I get that.
And it's not like Cadeau was playing poorly. It's like when it got nut cutting time, dude was at the point like, I don't know, man. That's a weird,
I don't think,
line of demarcation.
So I think in order to be successful at the level of, and listen, I am very fond of Boris Diaw, at the level that he was successful, which I mean, he had a really nice long NBA career. And like played for championships with San Antonio. Like, you know, we called him Fat Boris because he put on a little weight there and was playing center now. Like, he was like Big Boris. I like Young Boris. Like, but I think to be effective with either basically their levels of skill set and their levels of athleticism, which I actually think Yaxel is probably a little better athlete than Boris was. Boris is not a good athlete, but I think you have to have such a high, like, I think Yaxel has good feel for the game for college. I don't think his skills are at high enough level for that to translate into a whatever 15-year NBA career the way Boris's did. I think Boris was almost like supernatural the way he saw the game.
You had the man crush is impressive.
I was.
It's impressive because it's a random.
It is, but I remember watching him on some of those like early Suns teams, and I'm just like, this dude's like, for not being good at anything. Really? I mean, let's be honest, especially early.
Do you know the first person I thought that about?
Who?
You talk about a deep cut. I'm like, how is this dude functioning in the NBA outside of his shoe collection?
Who?
Dude, that's how I felt about Mario Ellie.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
I'm like, how is Mario Ellie good? And he would kill people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like,
I remember him on those like mid-90s Rockets teams.
Dude, you know, he had the sweet shoe, he had like the snake. He's a big dress shoe guy.
Yep.
Mario Ellie had like 200 pairs of dress shoes. I'm like, it's got to be more to him than the dress shoes. Like, I didn't really handle the ball well. Kind of frumpy.
Yeah.
You know, wing corner 3 guy. I'm like, what else is Mario gonna do? And then occasionally he'd back that thing down on a fast break and he'd bump into you and you'd flail and he'd do like this little scoop. I'm like, he can't even jump, and the dude just was out here getting buckets.
He'd give you the old Mark Jackson. Just like that booty down there.
Yeah. You know, just scooting it on in. I'm like,
I
think, man, Yaxel is really smart. For as much as he drives me crazy with his delivery. But according to people like, you know who has some sweet Yaxel stories?
Who?
Because his boy was down there at, you know, as a UAB guy, is Bigelow.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember was this last week before last? We were just talking about like him on Halloween dressing up in costumes and stuff. Yaxel.
Yeah.
Like just last year. As a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
Right. So the podium stuff.
I think there's some immaturity there in general. Like or he just doesn't care, which is, I don't know, a different thing. But
so now we're fast forwarding to the lottery.
I think that's where he's projected.
I don't know.
I think to me he screams late first. Like
he's sitting late lottery, like late first.
So, yeah, where I've seen him mostly is like 10 to 15.
I could see like a 17, 18, 19. There's 11 freshmen that I would probably make the case for.
10, 11, 12.
There's a guy who does like the draft stuff, and he has best fits for Yaxel at the Thunder, the Grizzlies, Celtics in the late lottery, mid-first range. And he compares him to Thaddeus Young and Tari Eason.
Thaddeus Young, good pull. Although Thaddeus Young's wingspan was incredible.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Probably a better offensive player than
that's
maybe.
Yeah, So ESPN has them
That's
going
a heck of a poll.
17 right now.
Not that it's yours, but that's a very historic poll.
So that was a couple weeks, or that was like a month ago though. So that's not going to be.
The thing about it is he's so old. He's old.
He is old. He's got old. Never mind. Yeah, he's pretty old. That's like that. That's going to go against him.
Can we just talk about my man crush on Morez Johnson Jr.? And it's not because I said it to Ant yesterday as my guy. He imposed his will, and he did it repeatedly without saying a word.
This guy's got him at 11. Go ahead. Yeah,
He ain't going at 11.
11's aggressive.
He ain't going at 11. He has more concerns than I have for a guy like Wagler's athleticism. And you guys are telling me that Wagler's going to be the deal.
No, I'm telling you, I understand a version of that works. Like I understand the concern.
And by the way, to your point, Suave, anybody's going to be a good fit for the Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, shoot. That's why
they're unselfish. They have a lot of pieces. You don't have to play right away.
Yeah, nobody's gonna be asked to do too much.
Like it's not. No, I couldn't. But I'd be pushing it. I would be the best. I mean, roster spots 15. I'd be the best 16th man on the roster on OKC's roster, and I would fit right in.
You fit right in. You'd be a good bench guy, good glue guy.
Yeah. You know what my two-way contract would look like?
What's that?
Training room. Eating facility. That would be my two-way.
That'd be your two-way?
What are your stats looking like?
I got zeros across the board. Now, I'm not going to have like one of those, we a couple of NBA players that have played 20 minutes and didn't record a single stat.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't get to the 20-minute mark. Maybe collectively, like 30 seconds a game and like,
I think you'd play more than you think because they're blowing people out.
I don't know, man.
You'd have to play. You wouldn't want to.
I wouldn't.
My ankle.
I wouldn't mind living in OKC just because I wouldn't need a car. I could just walk.
You're a big OKC guy?
I like the city.
That's not bad.
It's not too big. It's very walkable. I found a couple places to eat there. As long as I find a grocery store, I'd be good.
All right, so I've got some comps for I've got some potential comps for Yaxel. Let me know what you think, okay?
Okay.
PJ Washington.
Better offensive player. I don't know. Will he do PJ's dirty work? That's hard. PJ
Washington's a good player.
Yeah.
Marcus Morris.
I have to go back to college. Morris was kind of nasty. He bullied people. Yeah. I could see that. I'm just thinking out loud.
So this one is wrong. Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon's a freak athlete coming out. Like that's not. I don't think we're close there.
No, Tim, I could walk from Omaha to Lincoln in.
It's about 50 miles.
Yeah. It'd take me all day.
What if you're running 30 miles an hour?
Knock it off. Did anybody drive 20 mile an hour yesterday?
Yeah, during the neighborhood, I did a little bit.
You're like, this is slow as balls. Be honest.
It's relative.
Be honest.
Running at 20 miles an hour is not slow. This is a deep cut. Andres Nocioni.
Not familiar enough with his overseas game.
I think Nocioni was a little more skilled.
Aren't all those guys?
That's kind of the assumption I'm making.
What? What? Suave? You said you like beans. Stereotypes are there for a reason.
Otto Porter.
You think we naturally just have our pants pulled up all the time?
Otto Porter Jr.
Good pull. But keep it a buck. No way you thought Otto Porter was going to be able to end up shooting the ball like he did in the league.
Yeah. That's the only reason he was able to stick for 15 years or whatever.
I mean, that dude.
Because wasn't he like the 5th overall pick or something?
That dude developed.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
Also think
Otto Porter's a jump shooter?
Hey, Georgetown Otto Porter was a dog, though.
Yeah. So can you believe how different his game turned out to be in the league?
I would not have pegged him for a shooter at all.
It's like Tolliver.
He also, yeah,
a
for sure.
A junkyard dog in college that like
had that set shot.
And then
You remember that thing?
Yeah, he just like developed a strap. I was like, you can always, everybody but me can always become a good shooter.
So,
Everybody.
I'll take Otto Porter Jr. and Marcus Morris as decent comps. I do think Otto was a much better athlete coming out.
I don't know, man.
If I remember right, I thought he was. Or who am I thinking?
Juan.
I think Otto Porter was a
Time
Yeah.
out.
I think Otto Porter was a good athlete coming out.
Time out.
Okay, what do we got?
Juan, you don't think I could walk to Lincoln in a day? Boy, I am so tempted. A charity deal. No, I'm serious.
Omaha to Lincoln walk.
Well, you don't sleep, so I mean,
I don't care about this.
But you're going to be up though. You're going to be up though.
The sleep wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't care less about having to do a number 2 because I can go a day without that anyway.
Yeah.
There's a couple stops along the way. You'll be fine.
Juan, I guarantee you I could walk to Lincoln in a day.
I'll walk with you.
Yeah, I'd take a friend.
Yeah.
You just gonna like pound Mountain Dews the whole time, or
No, I'll take water.
okay? You got to
It's a
refuel.
long walk. I had to take water.
No way you're being serious. I'm telling you, man.
Well, you can't walk on the interstate, so you gotta.
You'd have to take
like
Highway
back.
6.
Yeah.
You'd have to take Highway 6 the whole way, which I don't think that matters that much.
Are you going to have like a truck following you with water?
Ravi can follow us.
I'm not doing that.
Oh.
Yo, so you want to talk about driving 20 miles an hour? I'd be driving like 2 miles an hour. You know how boring that would be?
You'll be fine.
I'm not going to follow you in a car for 10 hours.
It won't take 10 hours.
5 hours or 5 miles an hour. It might take longer than 10 hours. 5 miles an hour for 10 hours gets you to Lincoln. That means you're walking a 12-minute mile. That's a pretty good pace to walk.
That's aggressive.
Yeah. I think you're probably looking at least 12. You could do it in a day, but it's a long day.
Yeah. Let's say you give me 20 hours.
Oh, for 20, you
who
could definitely
cares?
do it in 20 hours.
Nice day.
Like,
It'd be great.
Juan, are you talking like daylight or 24 hours? That's a surefire loser.
what's the what's a reasonable pace to maintain? Like 20 minutes? Like a 20-minute mile? Over the course of the day. Obviously, someone will be faster.
Yeah.
So that's 3 miles an hour. So you got 50 divided
I
by
think
3.
3 miles an hour would be.
I think that's a pace you can maintain.
Yeah.
You're done in 16 and a half hours.
Yeah. I think 3 miles an hour.
It's a long day. Like, it's not going to be fun, but it's definitely doable.
Dude, just the competitiveness.
Oh, you could definitely do it. Like,
People could join us for a little spurts.
Dude, Crawford, would he can't train around? Like, I don't know, man. I could pull off some things from a competitive standpoint.
yeah, I mean, I don't think you'd love how you felt after, but
Dude, I almost broke 2 ribs. I could walk. Try getting your hands taped and getting in the gym.
You know what we do?
have some
is we walk from Omaha to Lincoln, and then we get some nice steaks in Lincoln.
Oh, I'm definitely not eating. I know how I get after I'm spent, and the last thing I am is hungry. It's. I mean, I would play a game, and I wouldn't eat for at least 3 or 4 hours.
really,
Yeah, I'm not hungry.
I don't eat before, but as soon as I'm done with whatever, I'm eating.
I found some great. He said one Topo Chico. No, like I have to take the case. I found some. I have a really, really, really good affordable reposado.
okay.
It's called 818 Reposado.
818.
818.
Where'd you find that?
818 Total Wine.
Okay.
It's like the equivalent
Mhm.
would probably be a Belvedere vodka.
Oh, okay. That's a solid vodka.
Solid.
Yeah.
Not gonna crack you.
Yeah. Very drinkable.
People act as like it's a little bougie,
Yeah.
but 818.
I think honestly with Belvedere, I think it's just because of the name. It sounds bougie, you know?
Well, that would be Chopin.
Fair.
JD, I was thinking about getting Coach Manning this week. He had a lot to say yesterday.
He did have a lot to say yesterday.
He had a lot to say.
Well, it's time to move on.
You couldn't have been happier, huh? Were you doing cartwheels? You're such a hater.
I'm not a hater. I was right. Like,
Do I need to make a Ravi victory lap lower third
Dude,
for quote unquote all the times you're right?
Did he hurt you?
no, I just like if you're going. Listen, I said this the whole time.
I'm blaming Joseph. It's
If
his
you're
fault.
going to compromise to win a national championship, you damn well better win a national championship.
Oh.
That's it. Like, and listen, don't act like I'm saying anything that Mark Manning didn't tell us before the season. He told us, it's like, well, yeah, we think we have the infrastructure in place to get a hold of him and kind of put him in the right direction.
Jared, yes, I do walk long distances. Shootout, you should have seen me at West Point.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I was a terror.
Juan, I 100% could not do it. I hate walking.
I'm in an absolute. I actually.
You like walking. You like yeah.
I do.
No, I like. Let's not pretend like Mark Manning didn't say exactly my sentiment the entire season. Did he not tell us like, well, yeah, we're kind of taking a chance here, but we think we've got the structure in place.
And he even said we'll see.
Yes, he didn't. He wasn't even sure.
Yeah, he said we'll see.
So I don't know why people got on me about hating on Adrian Ferrari. I was just repeating the exact same things as head coach said.
I think those back-to-back days was a little bit of a rant.
I just maybe I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do his gap years because he left Stillwater in 21. Then he trained, and he didn't get to Bakersfield until 24, 25.
Yeah.
So on his post, he said 1 to 2 years, and I know that threw people for a loop. But I'm trying to see if he's going to try to petition for a gap year.
Yeah,
because he's old.
Yeah, he's like 25.
He's maybe going
he'll
to
be 25
maybe
next year. I think. Like wrestling has the most.
Listen, I said that right. He left Stillwater after the 2021 season.
There is nothing more confusing,
and didn't get to Bakersfield until 4 or 5.
There's nothing more confusing than wrestling eligibility.
It's hard.
He will be 25 in July.
Yeah. July what?
24th.
Okay. He just missed that cancer window.
So he had a COVID. He was here for the COVID year. He started in 2021 and then was there he was still there in 22 is when he left Stillwater, I think.
Yeah, did not
21,
compete. Did not compete.
Yes, but he wasn't. He was there, but hadn't.
Yeah, because I think he's going to get the gap. He's going to try for the gap year.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here.
Well,
he won.
Is he closer to Chambliss or is he closer to Pavia?
He won the national championship in 21.
Yeah.
It's a lot. There's a lot going on there.
I blame JD for that.
You think that's confusing? You should try track eligibility with indoor and outdoor.
Hey, by the way,
I bet that is confusing.
Let me ask you something, Rico, while I got you. Not to put you on the spot.
Oh, please do.
And maybe national championship is lofty. Track and field top this year.
Mm-hmm.
And?
Like team wise?
Yeah.
Like at the national championship, depending on how many people they get in, I'd say women's squad top 10, men top 15.
I'm looking at all the Olympic sports too while everybody's talking about the Big Ten Conference.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, I don't honk. I'm not a conference honk. I hate it. And you guys can talk me out of it. I don't know if you could talk me out of it. But when a guy like Clay Travis, who's an SEC honk,
mm-hmm.
He's not as, I'm not even gonna say it, not as bad as you think. And I'm not messing with Clay Travis. It's fine. When a guys like that start talking about the Big Ten's dominance and transitioning into sports, I'm like, oh gosh, could I ever get Feinbaum to say that? Could I ever? But I'm not going to hop on the Big Ten Conference coattails because I don't like that.
I'm not like a conference honk in the sense of I root for everybody from the conference. I am a let's have realistic views of conferences guy. Like
Juan, that's only $14.
I didn't even know Long John Silver's had a buffet.
Oh, I've been telling you about it. Saddle Creek on Sundays.
Just on Sundays?
Yeah. Well, that's $14. You should pay for my competitive spirit alone.
DB,
although he did find me a nice little deal on the spade and neuter people.
TK says, DB, you just said 3 dudes who need to get a job out of college.
Wait, I did what?
I think when you're talking about Ferrari and some of these old dudes, I think they need to start entering the LinkedIn transfer portal, not the NCAA transfer portal.
I don't know, man. I don't know what the president can get with his executive order, but I do think it's, as a matter of fact, Manning, he was asked about it.
Yeah.
About the president's executive order and eligibility. And it's a real tricky thing. But I hate to say this, TK, I was cheering against Chambliss. And I hate saying that out loud, but
you mean in terms of getting eligibility?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a bad precedent.
I was cheering because
I get the JUCO thing in Pavia's case. I understand that.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean I'm not saying I think we need to have a better system, but under the current system, if you went to JUCO, there's no reason a junior college, which is a totally separate organization, should have any impact on your NCAA eligibility. They're separate. You know what I mean? Like, why does one be like if we work at Hurrdat and it'd be like if Mutual of Omaha's HR policies applied to us? Like, why does that happen? Like, it's a totally different system. And, it's like, oh, I live in the United States, but I also have to follow Canada's laws. Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's my issue with I can see the JUCO thing. I don't think it's good long-term for the sport, but I understand legally how you can't really do much about it at this point until they find a solution. The Chambliss thing is a whole other deal because he was at a D2 NCAA institution the whole time. So that's why the Chambliss thing was like, hey, we can't go there. That's a big difference to me.
Okay. I appreciate, as Sip said, he likes a good distinction. No, I'm telling you, like this motivated me. I can't believe we just blew through the first hour. Sasha's going to be so pissed. She just lectured us.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's about as firm as she's going to be as she was. I was like, oh, I think I'm going to see myself out of this conversation.
It's fine.
I'll let you handle this. She said, look, man.
Yeah.
Twice. You can't be doing it on the hour.
We should probably take a break.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
It's the Jets' fault.
Yeah, let's take a quick break here.
We literally just blew it.
Yeah, it's after 8 o'clock. That's
sorry.
We need to hang the clock up, Sasha. I know it's in here.
And neither one of these two yahoos said anything to us. They're contributing to the look. Rico's like, it wasn't me. They're contributing to the conversation.
I think Shane's traumatized because I yell at him every time he plays the music when I don't want him to.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything. Here on out. From here on out, never again.
Maybe like instead of the aggressive break signal, give me like a maybe.
No, I have to be aggressive with you. You're both adults.
Maybe.
Figure it out.
I need a clock.
Big BCD guy.
You have a clock right in front of you.
Your
phone. Two of them, on your phone and your laptop.
No, it's really little though. From the corner.
Okay, go to a break.
I just need just give me a clock right on the wall.
You're wearing a watch, right?
I do, but it's for aesthetics.
He's
not for
the same
time.
dude that says I sent you a text. Like we're reading that during the show.
Yeah, I know.
I sent you a text.
We're kind of busy here, guys.
Well, I sent you a text to go to break.
No, you actually didn't. We'll be right back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
I mean, obviously we've had a lot of conversations with that, Wilson, and we feel good. We feel really good about the core group of guys that we will have back next year. And, those conversations are ongoing, exactly what it's going to look like. But we feel good about the initial talks that we've had. That's the biggest thing is retention. When you look at our team from last year, a lot of those guys that played significant roles were guys that were in our program and guys that knew the culture, the standard, and everybody that came in, really lived up to that. And a lot of that was because of the returners, and they let them know what was expected. So very important that we get those guys back, and we feel really good that we're going to have a good group of core returners that will be back in a Husker uniform next year.
I think going into it, I knew Sydney was down, so I just kind of made sure to rely on everyone around me and making sure that I kept communicating with them. They kept communicating with me, just making sure that I could go out there and just know what I know I can do. Honestly, I go into every game thinking I'm going to play no matter what. I think that's kind of an important mindset to have. You never know what's going to happen in game, so if I'm mentally ready the whole time, nothing really changes.
Yeah, I think it's like BMO said. Obviously, you have to be ready at all times. You never know how a game's going to go. A game might be like Atlanta, where Lonnie played phenomenal, and a game might be like tonight. And I think just that mindset going into it. But I also think it starts in practice of continuing to try and find little ways to get better. And I get to play with BMO a lot, so I think that was an advantage for me. Is we have a good connection because we have been together, and so just trusting that. And BMO was great coming in, communicating with me, and like she said, just continuing to communicate throughout.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Caravan tracks it down with 2 seconds. With one, he throws it to half court. And since 1989, there's been a blank space in the Michigan Trophy case. Will write their name, Michigan, the 2026 men's basketball national champions. They knock off UConn 69-63 to win the school's second men's basketball championship.
Welcome back to Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Nextgen Male Medical. We definitely got a talking to from Sasha in the break.
Oh, I walked out. I missed it. What'd she say? I pretended to be out there putting with Austin.
She's like, we literally just talked about this, guys.
Austin goes, I go, hey, sorry about that. He goes, it happens. And I was like, whoa.
I think
if you're going to be forgiving and have some grace, I think he's usually the biggest.
We may have broke his spirit.
Critic.
All right.
We may have broken his spirit.
That's fine. I don't really know how we do that.
Coming up on the show today, we've got Mitch Sherman at 9, and then we've got Nate ROHR, play-by-play voice of the Nebraska softball team, at 9:30.
Shane, where are we with my requests?
Still waiting.
Well, why did you have me thinking it was a done deal?
I said I sent out 11 different requests, and I didn't necessarily say I hadn't heard back from anybody, but I was still waiting for people to reply, and nobody has replied. I assume they're either all writing or broadcasting about it.
I'd imagine they'd be pretty busy in Chapel Hill and the Denver sports market area.
I really tried. I think I became an expert yesterday on the Nuggets. So,
what did you say?
Never. I'm not going to do that.
Hey, so
how are you feeling today?
Listen, I got to say something real quick.
Yeah.
Sasha, I'm going to need your help so you can come in on camera and log me back in correctly. But in the meantime, to join the chat, I used my Gmail account.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to guess where Trojan Kane came from?
Trojan Kane.
It is clearly an alias. I wanted to throw people off my Nebraska scent.
Well, you are a closet USC fan.
Correct.
And all your favorite running backs come from Miami. Nailed it. Let's go.
Dang, that was too easy.
I was going to say you like sugar cane.
I'm going to say you're stupid.
No, I'm short.
Wow, that was too easy.
Those aren't mutually exclusive, Shane.
Well, they got no reason to live.
Now.
What? I'm just telling. That's what Randy Newman said.
So he's the expert?
Short people got no reason to live.
Why has it got to be all nasally?
That's Randy.
That's what Randy Newman does.
Thank you, Randy.
How are you feeling about the Mike Malone era in Chapel Hill?
I am cautiously optimistic.
Oh, that's good.
Well, so there's a couple things that I like.
Okay.
Number one, I'm going all the way back to like his Manhattan and Providence days.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's 25 years ago, man.
It is grimy, though.
Okay.
And he's a grimy coach.
Okay.
So I don't mind that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then from there, I think. So we had a couple of really big segments on this. Remember when Jokic got mad and there was kind of this mutiny and he was too hard on the players? And I was like, this guy was just coach of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That people were upset about how he was using his bench, even though he had just lost really good players in back-to-back seasons.
Mm-hmm. That was like the Jamal Murray stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, remember?
Yep.
So it's not like we're unfamiliar with old Maloney, Baloney, Mike, Eminem, M2, whatever. But the one thing I do like, two things. Number one, really good offensive mind.
Okay.
Really, really good offensive mind. I felt like Carolina offensively, like coming out of timeouts and stuff. Remember, I used to joke, you're only going to get the glasses pushed or he's going to wipe his brow. Never grabbing a dry erase board and a marker ever is the craziest thing I've ever seen. It was like, this is my best Hubert Davis thing. It's like, what do you mean? It's Hubert. So I like the fact that he's pretty good offensively.
Okay.
And I also like the fact that he's got tremendous overseas connections.
Okay.
He's scouted the areas. He understands international basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And he's seen it work. So a lot of people want to try to mimic what Underwood and Lloyd and those guys are doing, but they don't really know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see it and it's starting to trickle in all these sports, especially wrestling. We just got a wrestling question about recruiting internationally.
Yeah.
You have to know where to start, but I do like the fact that Malone has a ton of experience. So we'll see what he puts together from a staff standpoint. But I went back, I retweeted it back from 25. He did an interview on ESPN, and he's actually in a Tar Heels sweatshirt because his daughter goes to school at Chapel Hill.
Okay.
And they asked him what he missed about coaching. And he's like, the camaraderie, the chemistry, just the guys in the locker room, the fellowship, being with my staff. He goes, I love my wife, I love my dog, but, I like the guys in the locker room and the coaches. So, like, I think that'll give you a chance at the collegiate level.
Okay.
So I remain optimistic. Was I doing cartwheels? No. But I am excited.
Okay.
Because I want discipline.
I mean, you're excited just to have anybody but Hubie at a certain extent.
I'm not really like that.
Okay.
Like, I hate settling.
What do you mean?
Not settling, but it like you feel like you felt like, hey, this wasn't going to work with Hubie.
Yeah, I'm not.
We just get a chance with somebody else.
I would have been pissed. If I didn't like the hire, I wouldn't have said, well, it's not Hubert. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm not
I mean, there's definitely a level at which it becomes.
I'm typically not anything is better than.
Yeah. I mean.
Well, anything's better than moldy cheese. No, I'm sure there's
not anything.
Not anything.
There's poop. It's gross.
Okay.
It's not better than moldy.
Come on, man.
Like,
Ravi. What the hell? There's so many other things.
I mean, hot take? Question mark? No, like
I don't think that's a hot take.
Yeah, that's my point.
That's what he's saying.
No,
this is not a hot take.
Well, I'm saying you said, well, not anything, and here's an example.
Hot take.
Tell that to Bella, though.
Is she back to eating her poop again?
No, I think she's a sneaky poop eater.
You gotta keep that pineapple up, man.
I'm trying. I maybe lifted some from my mom's house.
Gotta go get that pineapple, man.
Which, by the way, she gave me one of the coolest containers.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like, I don't know if this is getting returned. I typically like to bring her stuff back.
Keeping this one.
Yeah, I might have to knock out the pineapple thing. But I like the fact he has international ties.
I'm not saying this is the same level of hire. But I mean, this was a name that was not out there.
Dude, I think Mad Max needs to be my best friend.
Yeah.
Mad Max, are you all in on wrestling? Because I only have a couple of those buddies. Do you want to be friends? Let's be friends. We need him in our Discord.
Why can't we?
I like the name too. Mad Max is one of my favorite characters in fiction, in movies.
That makes sense.
Absolutely. Why? Because he's a survivor. He wasn't a what? Like, you think he was a?
There was some.
Think he killed people unnecessarily?
Well, I think all killers think it's necessary.
Yeah, Mad Max was great. He did eat dog food.
Yeah.
He fed it to his dog too, though. Do you remember that in Road Warrior?
He
was sitting on the hill looking at the people that were trying to.
I've only seen the new one.
And he like cracked open the can and he gave some to his dog.
Well, you need to see the second one. That's the best one.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Mel Gibson one.
All right.
I've only seen the
Headley. Well said, easy to make friends. I like commonality, Headley, but also I am kind of drawn to people that I disagree with and don't like. That would be Ravi every day.
I don't think that's true.
So I'm an equal opportunity friender.
In terms of just pure shock at a name that came out of nowhere, it did. I'm not saying these are the same level of coach or anything like that. It's the most stunned I've been since Mike Riley, of just a name where it's just like, I did not see that coming at all.
Well, it just depends. Like, if you believe what people were reporting.
Right, but generally speaking,
I mean, Goodman was just saying 20 hours ago they're going to put the full court press on Billy Donovan.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I
and
understand.
Then it was Ben McCollum was like, "Oh, they asked for a formal interview," and I said no, and people were like, "Oh my God, North Carolina's getting turned down." Like, it's so linear. It's not. If
they're very fluid situations.
Very much so.
I do think that their top guy was Tommy Lloyd. I believe that.
Yeah, I do too.
I do too. I think they thought they were going to get him, and then I don't know if they. I don't know. I don't think they thought they were going to have to go to their backup plan. I think they thought they were going to get Tommy Lloyd, and they really wanted a guy that could say yes before today started.
Can I just say, like, you know what I like?
Mm-hmm.
He wins a lot.
Sure. I would, if I'm North Carolina, my only hesitation would be never head coach this level. Like, that's a lot to learn. It was my same hesitation with Billy.
You're like Coach K. There's going to be quite the learning curve.
It was my same hesitation with Billy Donovan. Like, I get that he's been a head coach at this level. It's been a long time. He doesn't know what the landscape of college basketball is right now.
Let me ask you something.
Sure.
Because I keep hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about? What's the learning curve?
What do you mean? Just to go from
pros to college?
I think
give me a couple of hypotheticals.
Talent acquisition process is totally different. I think it's
because you don't have scouting departments, or you think he doesn't have a good eye?
I think the actual, not identifying of talent, the actual acquisition of talent, the way these weird middlemen agents work, the way the transfer portal works, the way NIL works.
You think he's unfamiliar with agents?
I think college agents and pro agents are very different people, because pro agents are actual agents and college agents half the time are somebody's uncle, because there's no registration, there's no test you have to take, there's no governing body for it. Anybody who says I'm your agent can be your agent. And I don't think people from the NBA are used to dealing with people like that when it comes to contracts.
Let me ask you something. Do you agree with Dusty May where he says college recruiting is much more streamlined than it was 10 years ago, and the student athletes actually pick the school? He had this excellent did you hear it?
No.
Hey, AJ, I'm going to talk fast to you, then talk really slow to Ravi. There's a snippet of a presser, Dusty May on recruiting being streamlined. And you're going to get this Dusty May press conference, and he talks about 80 to 120 man hours, and then players ultimately telling you no versus what it's like today to recruit because players actually pick you. AJ, do you think you can find that for me? So anyway, having said that, can you answer yes or no if you believe that's true without actually hearing what he said? Do you feel comfortable doing that? If you don't, I'll buy you some time.
No, we can go there. I think that my initial answer is no. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I understand what Dusty May goes through better than Dusty May. So it
is Michigan, and he did have 5 transfers starting, so he may think it's a lot easier.
Right, and like it's probably a lot easier than it was at FAU. You know what I mean? Like that's his context is very different. I also see guys like that have been in the sport for a long time rushing to get out. Guys like Tony Bennett and Jay Wright, and I think
they didn't want to adjust, because you have other old heads that have.
I get that, but
what about Patinko?
Well, because he's just doing the same thing he's always done. He just doesn't get in trouble for it anymore.
Okay, Calipari, same thing he's always done.
Yeah.
What about Rick Barnes?
I still think he's mediocre.
Actually,
yeah.
Stephen Young, I believe Dusty May was quoting Rick Barnes' thoughts on recruiting.
Oh, maybe.
Which I thought was strange. Rick Barnes is 25 years his senior.
Mm-hmm. I mean, listen.
Dusty May. 25 years.
I'm not going to pretend like I know better than what their experience has been. What it seems like from our vantage point on these things is that it's never been messier.
Okay. Would you rather...
Mm-hmm.
Hot, that's a great point. Not the Ben McCollum one. Go back. What did Hot say that I liked or wanted to talk about? Was it Headley?
He said not having connections. That was Hot Danger.
Fudge buckets.
I don't see it.
Chatting up middle schoolers. Okay. That one. So Ben McCollum has been talking to guys since they were in the 7th grade. Mike Malone hopefully hasn't been chatting up middle schoolers. No, I get it. There's a little sarcasm in that, but I want to couple that with what Ant said yesterday, which, by the way, that message is long gone, and the clip down to Lincoln. But Like choose Nebraska. Do like you need a school like Nebraska for this, and this. Don't you think that there's a shift where people are actually choosing schools for something other than because it just seems like we're talking about roster construction more than we are talking about player acquisition. And I get we could think they're the same thing.
I mean, there's overlap for sure.
But they can be mutually exclusive too. Right. Ben McCollum just waxed poetically about putting together a roster independent of having the best guys available. He talked about fit. Like he praised on Dusty May for fit. 5 transfers in the starting lineup.
Yeah, no, it's hard. I wouldn't say they're mutually exclusive. I'm saying they can be somewhat separated. There's always going to be some overlap because even in any time in roster construction, no matter how you decide to construct the roster, you still have to go acquire the players. So they can never be separated totally.
Would you rather be in the player? This is a total coach rule thing. Like he could sit down. We talk about expenditures and money well spent, money not well spent.
Speaking of which, Owen Freeman's in the transfer portal.
Getting a rock, that in the least surprising news ever.
Yep.
Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I'll move on.
Yeah.
Would you rather be in player retention or player acquisition? You have to pick one.
So player retention is I recruit the guy out of high school. I'm trying to keep him for multiple years.
Yep.
Player acquisition is they're somewhere else right now in college. I'm trying to get them to come to me.
Correct.
So I think the people that think it's easier now are in the player acquisition business because it's an abbreviated timeline. You don't have to invest years on years on years on a 15-year-old that you don't know if they're ever actually going to be able to play or not. So I think the people that think it's easy are in the player acquisition business. Very short timelines. Hey, you enter, you out. Here's the dollar amount. Are you a good fit? Let's figure this out, right? The people that I think it's harder are in the player retention business.
So would you like to be in the Flory Badunga sweepstakes to pay $4 million?
I would rather be in the player retention business.
Okay.
Personally.
Hold that thought. AJ, if that clip is ready, let that bad boy roll from the national championship winning coach, Dusty May.
Now more than ever, we used to choose players and we used to convince them to come play for us, whether it's because we were showering them with attention or we showed them more love or we'd simply been recruiting them longer. Now the players, and each coach may have a different opinion, but the players are choosing us. And when we make contact with the player, the first thing they do is slide into the DMs and the messages of all of our players that we coach currently and the players that we've coached in the past, and they do more homework and intel on us than we do on them. And so I know that's spinning in a number of different directions, but just recruiting's changed so much. And I'm going to echo Coach Barnes from Tennessee last week. It's not that bad. We used to recruit guys for 3 years and spend 80, 100, 200 man hours away from our families begging these 15 to 18-year-olds to come play at our university, and then they decide to go in another direction. And you just think of all the time and resources you've wasted. And so
Thanks, stop that real quick. Back that thing up about 25 seconds. Listen to this again. You guys and gals, do you think this is myopic because of where he is? Or is this actually how it is? Shane, play it again.
Spinning in a number of different directions, but just recruiting's changed so much. And I'm going to echo Coach Barnes from Tennessee last week. It's not that bad. We used to recruit guys for 3 years and spend 80, 100, 200 man hours away from our families begging these 15 to 18-year-olds to come play at our university, and then they decide to go in another direction. And you just think of all the time and resources you've wasted. And so recruiting has definitely been streamlined, and it's much more efficient than it's ever been.
Is that not fascinating?
Well, he's in the player acquisition business.
Okay, but hang on.
Also, there's an important factor here that I touched on that, and then I'll let you ask.
No. Do your thing. Do your thing.
2 years ago, he was at Florida Atlantic. He is now at Michigan. His hot take is that it's easier to recruit at Michigan than it was at Florida Atlantic.
Is that your summation?
No, I think my summation is, I mean, I think that's part of it. That is part of it. That undermines the whole thing.
I'm just making distinctions.
But what I think we're hearing here is the thing I just talked about. Player acquisition is quicker. It's easier. It's as he said, streamlined process. It's a yes or a no quickly. You don't have to spend 3 years recruiting a guy. And let's look at their roster, okay? He's got one freshman, Trey McKinney from Florida.
A McDonald's All-America.
Really good player that he would not have had access to at FAU, most likely. Okay. But let's look at, you said the starting lineup, all transfers, all were at different places or overseas with Mara. He was over in Spain. Like
Cadeau was North Carolina.
Morez Johnson was Illinois. UAB for Yaxel. Like, this is a team that was put together in that manner, and he went out and was able to not only, like, yes, they're picking you, but you also have the pick of kind of, like, you're at Michigan, you have resources, you're in the Big Ten, you were in the Sweet 16 last year, you're gonna have access to almost anyone you want. Now, they still have to pick you, that's accurate, but abbreviated timelines, you don't have to invest 200 man hours. I get that. But not everyone is in that situation.
Okay. I like this because it helps me process from a starting point. So if I'm a coach and I'm able to get, let's say, because right now what I hear, just correct me if I'm wrong, is the school that you're at matters
a lot. Yes, I would agree.
Okay. So does John Shire look at it different than Dusty May?
I think he does, but he wouldn't have to.
What about
John Shire? Could do the same thing Dusty May did. He's choosing to go the highest. I mean, in terms of
could he though?
From a personality standpoint, I don't know.
Okay.
From a school standpoint, Duke is able to do whatever anybody else wants to do.
Do you think?
And maybe they should, for what it's worth, with my freshman.
Do you think arguably, maybe not arguably, the best coach in college basketball in Dan Hurley would agree with Dusty May's take?
He's got an interesting mix.
And he's also a guy that has outwardly said it's a special place to be. It takes a special kind of player. We only supplement with the portal.
I'll say he doesn't have a lot of portal
It's not
guys.
what we do.
Yeah.
Is what Dan Hurley does sustainable. Dan Hurley's a lot closer to Shire than they are to Dusty May.
For sure, but Dan Hurley's a better coach than Shire.
But no, hear my heart.
Okay.
So
in terms of their approach, he's much closer to Shire, yes. In terms of using
I'm talking about remember, my original question is, does the institution matter?
Yes.
Okay.
And UConn has the third most national championships of all time. You can retain at UConn if you want to play that way.
What about philosophy and how you get your dudes? That's kind of where I'm trying. I don't want to steer you there, but I'm telling you, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Duke, high school, development, get good players, has to be. Don't we think that Duke needs a specific kind of player?
Yes.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
So we got to be honest, right?
But I also think if he wanted to, he could get those specific type of players from the transfer portal. He's choosing not to do that.
Not sure it fits. See, we fundamentally we disagree on that, because I don't think not only is Duke the institution or Shire the personality is the guy that's gonna infiltrate the transfer portal market. I don't. I still think he's been so successful. I don't think that will change anytime soon.
Just because it won't change doesn't mean they're not capable of doing it that way.
Yeah, but listen, I can wish in one hand and hope in the other.
I'm saying if you brought someone,
so how many people? Let me
because we're talking about the institution. If you brought someone else to Duke,
hang on.
Okay,
hang on.
All right.
Okay. How many people do you think are in the transfer portal and they're saying they're looking at everything that's going on and they're saying, "Oh man, I got a couple of schools I can go to. I want to go to Duke." How many people do you think that hit the transfer portal say, "I want to go to Duke"?
I think if that's the game Duke was in, a lot of people would. I don't think all of a sudden, like, Duke has enough of a brand and a presence in the sport that if
what about it's simply just not who they are?
It's not who they've been. It's not necessarily that they can't be that. Like, there are certain places. I understand what you're saying. There's certain places.
Are you sure?
I think so. I think there's certain places that can only be one thing because of the either resources they have. But I'm trying to separate institution from coach.
Can I ask you one more thing?
Sure.
Do you think people hit the transfer portal and they say, "Oh man, Connecticut is a destination I want to go to once I hit the portal.
I think there are certain types of players that would, yeah. You're talking about the same thing, man. Like, you think all of a sudden from high school to being 2 years into college that
Let the record show he hit me.
You've literally pretended to choke me on the air.
Today?
Not today. But yesterday you were trying to hit me with a golf club, so I think we're cool.
Okay.
Fair. How much changes in a player's mind from 18 to 20 when he enters the transfer portal versus when he makes a commitment? Like, UConn all of a sudden doesn't become a less desirable place because you've been in college for 2 years. Now, it might not fit what you do, and more importantly, they might not want you. But like, if I'm a kid from, I don't know, ACC country, and I commit to Miami out of high school, and I have a good couple years in Miami, and all of a sudden I'm in the transfer portal, and I think I can get a payday, or I want to move to a place that I think I can win a national championship at, Duke would be on the list if I think they're in the market.
I understand the myopic point of view, but these schools that we're talking about, and North Carolina is in this discussion, in my opinion, even though I think they started to kind of change a little.
Okay.
With my dude that came from Oklahoma, the redhead.
Oh, he was in the
Brady Manick. Where there are these schools, because we're getting into this whole blue blood thing, and is it even important anymore? Which I think is an important distinction to make when we look at what's going to happen long term with the ability to win.
Okay.
It's, what is my school like from a perception standpoint versus, like, Duke can't flip their philosophy overnight. Like, you keep saying, well, if they wanted to, like, Shire's not changing overnight to just open his door to anybody.
This is why
I get
between coach and institution.
Okay.
Because I agree with you.
Along those lines, UConn.
Yeah.
I still think, even though Carolina has had an influx of portal additions, they've lost a ton too.
Sure.
Which is
Ian Jackson saying they lost. You know,
it's a ton.
Yeah, I mean, he's a 5-star. Yeah.
So I can be excited about somebody that's in the this is where we're
retention business.
That's in the retention business.
Yeah.
If you're sturdy enough in who you are, which is one of the very main reasons why I'm preaching patience with a guy like Coach Rule, not to bring it back to football, but anecdotally, where if we can get past this year from an eyeball standpoint that we're doing better in football, actual football, you get a chance to be an old school. And if you get a chance to be an old school and you get the 2027 class coming in, it becomes a desirable place to be from an optics standpoint because you like the people that are in your building. They've shown that they can endure. And all of a sudden, you're already good at retention. You can continue to cherry pick. That's what I think the coaches in college basketball are trying to master. It's like Bill Self. It's these coaches that we're talking about not evolving isn't the right word.
Adapting.
Yeah, because I cringed when you said, well, this coach is getting out and this coach is getting out and this coach is getting out. And why I bristle a little bit at your pushback on Izzo, because Izzo is almost in purgatory. He doesn't want to play the portal game.
Yep.
He wants to continue to develop at his pace. But we can only say so many times, hey, man, look at what they accomplished with this roster before people say,
who put the roster together?
You put the roster together.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, people used to say this is a weird comparison coming off of Izzo, but people used to say it's about Doc Sadler all the time. They're like, oh, man, he's getting the most out of this roster. He's really coaching up this roster. It's like, yeah, but he put the roster together. Like, he's the one that left himself with no other option but Lance Jeter to be his leading scorer. Like, that's not ideal, right? So at some point,
hey, what? Careful with that Jeter slander.
It's not slander. It's just probably shouldn't be leading scorer in the Big 12.
Big Jeter guy.
That's fine. I mean, yeah, I know you're a big Yankees guy.
I will die on the top 5, 6 shortstops of all time for Jeter. And don't at me with your defensive sorry ass metrics.
No, it's fine. It's just if you hit up ball up the middle, he was never going to get to it. He's still chasing it.
You're so stupid. Fuck.
Here's my point is I understand what you're saying. I understand philosophically some institutions don't want to, or some coaches don't want to be that. I don't think institutions have the same identity we think of them as, but like if North Carolina brought somebody in that did something different and they won a lot, they'd be cool, right? Like that's typically how it works. If, you know, Duke brought somebody else in that didn't go and recruit the high school kids the way Coach K did and brought in the one and dones like Coach K did and whatever, but they started winning more, they'd be cool, right? So like I understand institutions sort of have a bit of an identity, but most of them will sell that identity down the river if they're winning more. Like that's just how people are. I think Duke, when you talk about blue bloods and their ability to do different things, I think there are only certain schools that really have the option to go and get the highest level high school players. I think the transfer portal market is a little bit more even playing field for a lot of people. I think that's why a lot of people go to the transfer portal market, because it allows them to have access to talent that they probably didn't coming out of high school. I think it's also for newer coaches like Dusty May, just in his second year at Michigan.
Oh, no, Japanese prison balls. No, he's not.
Only defensively. I mean, he's better defensively. Now he's not a better player.
I've missed him too.
Better defensively, not a better player. That's
no. Where have you been anyway? I ask about that dude once a week. Try to tell me he was working. Where? What are we doing?
Here's the other part of this is
I'm sitting on something so fat like Ant Banks and Too Short.
I'm unfamiliar with that reference.
There's a song, Sitting on Something Fat.
Okay.
I gotta have a go ahead.
Real quick, and then you can ask your question. I think if Duke hired someone other than John Shire, that they could pretty easily pivot to.
I disagree.
How? Like, what is the holdup? What is the thing that would prevent them from doing in the portal what Michigan did?
History.
Who cares about history?
Apparently, that's how Duke does what they do. You can't set it aside. They all of a sudden can't get in the non-McDonald's, non-Nike relationship of just pulling random guys out of the portal and making it fit. It's not who their coaching staff has been for 40 years. You just don't turn that over overnight and say, hey, because we're Duke, we get whomever we want. It's
you
just
do
to
if
the
you hire a different coach.
It's just to the contrary, though. It's that guy's going to need time because they're Duke. It's why they've been what they've always been. You can't turn that over philosophically overnight. Again, the brand of Duke is why they are for specific reasons, and you're just dismissing that that's how they've been built.
No, I'm not dismissing it. What I'm saying is the history outside of the last 5 years of how they've built things generally doesn't matter anymore. Everything, like literally all the rules changed. So what they did in 2001 with Jay Williams and Shane Battier and all those guys, and Trajan Langdon, all those guys, doesn't help me now. I get that that's how you got to the point where you have the resources.
But that's what's made them Duke.
That's what made them Duke before. What's in the last 5 years? What history do they have in the last 5 years?
Bro, they're still winning. The dude just tied Brad Stevens for the most wins in the first 5 years of coaching. They don't suck.
And they haven't won a national title in a decade.
Neither have the 316 other teams in Division I.
And those teams aren't Duke. Those teams aren't Duke. If John Shire goes 5 more years without winning a national championship, you don't think, and teams like Michigan that are working the portal like this, that are abiding by my rule of, hey, you probably shouldn't have a true freshman be your leading scorer because that's not a thing that happens very often, and win a national championship, you don't think the people around Duke are going to start reevaluating what their history is and how much it means to them?
Not tomorrow.
No, but you get a new coaching staff. That's what I mean. Like the coaching staff has an identity of how they've gone about their business. I get historically the university does as well. I think it's much easier for Duke to say, hey, we want to do something different because they have the resources to do something different than it is for most other programs in the country.
All right.
If they decided they can't win national championships going with McDonald's All-Americans now, which, by the way, there's a decent amount of evidence that that's true, I don't think they would have a problem pivoting to be like, hey, we have to modernize and play basketball the way it's played now.
Okay. Let me ask you something.
Okay.
You're describing something on what I would consider a much smaller scale, but locally very, very similar.
Okay.
You are getting ready to transition into a much different philosophy and acquiring and procuring talent
with us
right down the street.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we prepared for the 180? And I don't think this is hyperbole. Just take a look at the transfer portal and what's going to happen with guys getting in and getting out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we said Owen Freeman's already in.
Ty
Davis is already in. I would expect Blake Harper to go in. I don't know that one yet, but I would
agree.
Yeah. Those are the three for sure that I was like, yeah, those are probably gone. There's others
has Creighton had enough portal transition to become accustomed to how Huss is going to probably play this game
in terms of just being so portal heavy?
It's going to be philosophically. It's going to be. So it's basically what you're asking.
Yeah,
what you're snapping your fingers and saying Duke could do.
You know what's funny is I think Creighton is more prepared for that mentally than most people are, because that's how they survived the transition to the Big East. Between Cole Huff and Mo Watson and Marcus Foster, and you're bringing I think Creighton is mentally prepared for that. I also think Creighton is mentally prepared for because Creighton has lost out on so many high-profile high school guys. Now, they've gotten some, but every time they're in for a top 20 or 30 guy, they make it to the final and they lose, right? I think Creighton's more than happy to be like, hey, we haven't won playing that game. Let's go get guys that want to come here.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure, but that's how I perceive it. I mean, I can't speak for. I haven't had this conversation with very many other people, so I don't know how other people feel about it.
It's gonna look.
I think of Creighton
a lot different.
I think of Creighton as a place that has pretty heavily relied on transfers. I get you had the core groups, right? You had the Tyshawn Alexander, Mitch Ballack group. You had like the Trey Alexander, Ryan Nemhard, Arthur Kaluma group. Like I understand you've had the core groups.
I think emotionally. Mm-hmm. Even though he was a transfer, we still associate Coach Mack and Doug as like homegrown because Doug was Max. Mm-hmm. Even though, so I don't think emotionally, like Jays have made that separation of distinction.
Not for Doug.
You know what I mean?
I mean, well, because he never played anywhere else.
So, but you were very. You didn't acknowledge with the whole transition to the Big East thing. Mm-hmm. A lot of that was Doug McDermott.
I meant post Doug, right? He was just there for the first year. I get why they were good the first year, right? That's Doug. I get that's the reason they're only there in the Big East in the first place is Doug and Greg. But after that first year where they're like, oh, what do we do now that the National Player of the Year is gone? They went transfer portal.
Okay, so you said something earlier that I don't want to pin you down, mm-hmm. so we can expound. Remember when Coach Hoiberg wasn't winning at the level we wanted him to? Mm-hmm. What's the number one word we talked about?
Fit.
I won't fight you over that. I think there was one before that.
Identity.
I think there's another one before that.
Give it to me.
Development. Right? He was too portal reliant.
Oh.
Guys weren't in the program long enough to establish how he wanted to play. Am I making that? Am I making that up?
I think there were two different camps. I think that was one of the camps.
Okay, because it was can't cheer for this guy, and Abdul Massey's doing this, and the roster construction is this.
I think there was the camp the fit identity camp, which is like you can go portal, but you got to get the right guys.
Okay.
And then there was the development camp that was like, hey, you got to get guys in and teach them how you want them to play.
Why do we think they won this year? A lot of the reason they won.
Sam Hoiberg was
okay.
Well, I mean, if you're going development, he's the picture boy or the poster boy for development.
Okay.
I would say guys like Rink and Jamarcus and
Jamarcus the second time around because we weren't very appreciative getting him back
the first time around. Yeah. Price, I would say those guys are in the fit identity camp.
Okay. So are we talking acquisition, retention? Like how would you rank the importance of what Nebraska did?
I think acquisition was really important here. I think acquisition was the most important thing here.
Really?
Well, think about who would you name their 4 best players?
Well, I think it's an interesting.
I mean, this team doesn't have the year they have without Price Sanford, right?
Well, I'll tell you who they don't have the year without.
Who?
They don't have the year without Sam Hoiberg.
Sure, 100%. That's why I brought him up first.
I think you have to start there.
Here's the thing, though. If you have Sam Hoiberg,
yay or nay?
I don't know if you have to start there. I do think he was an incredibly important part of this team.
Okay,
there's no way around that.
We don't have to agree.
I also think there is a 0% chance this team has the season they have without Price Sanford.
So that's interesting.
That's why Fitt's important, because Sam without some of those other guys, I don't know how far that gets you.
Mm-hmm. Can I see your glasses?
Some of those other guys without Sam, I think you still have gaps for sure.
Oh my Lord!
I also don't know how far that gets
You're not
you.
even blind. No, go back to Game Dog. Now this is interesting, because who doesn't get the benefit of this? I was
going to say it's really funny that we love that with Fred, but we are not giving Coach Rule that.
Everybody says this.
This is why.
Time out. Hang on. No. Just let me finish. Okay, go.
This is why I went on the rant last week about the bowl droughts and everything, and how bad the football program was, because he's not the only one that inherited a dead program.
Is Game Dog wrong?
No, he's 100% right.
Okay, he's 100% right.
Yeah.
Do you know what do you know why he gets to say this?
Because it worked.
Because he's winning now.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the number. I just wish we would say that.
No, it's 100% true, and it's the reason. Like everything he just said is also true of the football program. You could just replace Fred with Matt or Rule, and everything is still true.
Yeah, but so I know what he's gonna say next, because he said this. He's gonna tell you, and we argued, and it's not just Game Dog. So I'm not. Again,
no, a lot of
if you guys are making him be on my team for the draft, there will be times I defend him. I'm not really defending him. I'm just going to talk about the facts, the feelings. Damn. We had this conversation for 3 weeks.
Okay.
Is on a similar plane, is Coach Hoiberg's college success on par, less than, or greater than Coach Rule's college success?
Previous to Nebraska?
Previous to Nebraska.
I would say close. I'd say they're pretty close. Maybe slight edge, Fred.
Why? Because I think slight edge the other way.
I wouldn't fight you on that. I would just
Baylor, Temple, much worse programs.
So that's the thing where, like, if you gave
came much further,
yes,
historically from where they've been.
If you gave slight edge Fred,
I don't want to ask a leading question though.
Yeah, if you gave slight edge Matt Rule, I wouldn't fight you on it.
Okay,
because of where the program started. I think.
Do you know the difference?
What's that?
We like one guy,
yeah,
more than the other, and I'm 100%. Okay.
As long as you just gotta say it out loud.
I just need to know that that's the starting point.
You just gotta say it out loud. That's fine.
That's the no, but Game Dog. I'm not gonna. By the way, the 2-month hiatus thing, I just blew.
Yeah,
sorry. Coach Hoiberg gets a mulligan for Matt Abdelmassih, but we continually harp on Marcus Satterfield, and no, he didn't make the same money. That's a dirty little secret. That is not true. And I don't know. Like, I don't want to get into the. It's an opinion on who you think came further relative to their college jobs before Nebraska. I think it's interesting how we're cool and we rationalize one, but not really kind of the other. So I mean, I don't know. I don't get the Satterfield thing though.
I mean, so now he's on. Fred won championships he won 2 conference championships at Iowa State. That's fine. Coach Rule had conference championship at Temple. He has 2 division championships, 1 at Temple, 1 at Baylor. So like,
I know
my
point. If you just take feelings out of it,
yeah,
it's pretty apples to apples. And I'm not gonna get sidetracked with the specifics. I'm just saying, don't you find it interesting what we use as frames of reference to argue our point, when ultimately, if we're just honest, it's gonna simply boil down to whether a guy can win or not.
You could make
we'll rationalize how we got there after.
You could make the argument,
because you know what, if they win enough, if Nebraska won,
we'll go back and be like, oh, well, I see what he was doing, and he was doing this, and this.
That's what we'll do.
We'll go back and get it, just like the retcon of he was trying to do a quick fix while developing players. Nobody was talking about how he was trying to develop players 3 years ago. Not a soul, right? And I'll be honest with you. Give me anyone besides Sam Hoiberg that you point at and go,
I just hate the cannibalism.
Great developmental case.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just, because
I would argue
it just sounds, you know, whether I like who said the information or I don't like or whatever, like if I just look at like facts, independent of my feelings, they seem pretty similar. There's 2 big differences. How the information was disseminated while they were losing, which I think is paramount.
Sure.
And expectation levels.
Expectation levels is enormous.
Like I think those are the,
you know, the other problem?
Because remember, and this is so funny, and I've talked about this with a couple New Year's Eves ago with Coach Hoiberg. There was a discussion that went something like this, where basketball apathy had kind of set in because when they didn't make the change, it was, well, we just don't care enough about basketball. That's not my hot take.
No, that is a thing. That was the prevailing sentiment.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna deny it now. That was.
I didn't know if he was hand signaling me.
Are you stretching?
I'm so paranoid now. Nope, he did it. I'm so paranoid now. It's like
Hova.
My man is like,
clear
listen,
out.
what I'm gonna need you to
Clear
stand up and say
Are you getting ready
is
to do the diamond cutter? Is that what you're doing?
DDP.
Just I need, like, you got, there you go. Give me something.
So apparently we're taking a break. We've got to get to Mitch Sherman coming up next here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
And I can play the music, right?
From the Athletic. You hit that music, Shane.
Hey, can I just one more time?
Yeah, what's up?
Pick one that you want to be your skill set going into 2026 as a college coach. Retention or acquisition?
I prefer retention.
You could say school specific.
I do think it's school specific. I'm saying for my personality, it's retention. Because I want to recruit a kid for 2 years, so I know what I'm getting. I don't like the 2-week, hey, I hope that he wasn't full of BS on the phone calls. Like, I want to recruit a kid I want to put in the man hours for 2 years to know this is the kid I'm getting. That way I know what I'm dealing with.
Fascinating.
Then I'd like to be able to keep him for a couple years. So I'll choose player retention. We got Mitch Sherman from The Athletic coming up next.
Yeah, you know, it's just I think we have a great core group coming back with Antrell being a returning national champion and national runner-up, and him being a 3-time All-American, him stepping in more of a leadership position with Brock Hardy and Silas Allred graduating, and then Cam McDaniel is just him and Jacob Van D, you know, being 2-time All-Americans now. It's just a different a different responsibility that they feel that they need to elevate themselves in the leadership position. So I think it's really good. Good. We're about development, man. We're about developing our guys and getting them better. And we like where we are. Christopher Mento's, two-time All-American coming back, and he's going to provide a lot of leadership. So we got a really good thing going. A lot of guys in our room training for U20 to make a U20 world team at the end of the month, and then the U.S. Open.
Yeah, kind of like Lauren said, just the mental aspect. Like, obviously it's really good physically, but just mentally too, just having a little bit of a break and then coming in ready to go that next day when we all came in together. Everyone was working hard, and I think the stuff that we've been working on since then has really was showing out tonight. So that really helped us.
It's not really a number I'm used to seeing next to my serve, but
yes, it is.
It's fine. Yeah, no, it's great. It is. Yeah, it is really contagious when Mia's going back there and ripping top spins, and Anna's serving really well, and it's really contagious to hit your spot and who we wanted to hit, and they had a really good strategy with that, and so when we hit our serves, it made us pretty easy. It made it easier for us on the defensive side, so it was good. It's good. This team, like, we really love each other, but it's always good to get away for a second and people going to see people they haven't seen in a while and go home, and so just a good reset. We got to get Emma in here, Emma Clothier, and just kind of come back ready to go, and we got a whole week to think about what we talked about after we lost to Grand Rapids, and so we wanted to come back in a way more intentional, and I think we did that this week in practice, so it was good.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Nextgen Male Medical. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Mitch, how are we doing this morning?
Doing great. Hello. Good to see you guys, as always.
Mitch, how we doing, man? You said doing great. That's a pretty mature answer, man. Life's pretty good.
Yeah, life's good, I think. No complaints. So great. Very good. Yeah. Everything's solid. How are you?
Good. And my one, maybe two, depending on your follow-up answer. I usually always ask you a couple off the beaten path questions.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Let's do it.
How many burgers? Now, this is on the heels. I was talking to a buddy. We were sending recipes back and forth, and I said, if you swap out the hamburger and maybe breakfast sausage or whatever. And so we got to talking about how few of actual hamburgers / cheeseburgers we eat in the course of a year. Because it's a very popular food, right? Mm-hmm. But let me ask.
It's kind of a summery food. How many hamburgers do I eat in a year?
In a year. Roughly.
I think from Memorial Day until sometime, probably mid-September. You might as well just say Labor Day, like the summer, the traditional summer. It's I don't know if it's one a week, but is that like 20 weeks? It's probably 15 in a summer setting. I mean, for sure on like the 4th of July and things like that. And then what I don't eat are fast food burgers. Like I don't like, I just don't. If I got to get a fast food option like that, I'm down with a Runza, but that doesn't count as a burger for sure. Like if you're counting that as a burger, I don't want to have this discussion, but on the grill and then like getting a good burger at a good burger. Again, I'm not talking about like a $20 burger, but like at a sports bar burger.
Yeah.
Probably 5 times in a year. I would say 20 burgers in a year. There you go. Cheeseburgers.
I felt safe saying 10 or less. Are you? How many 20? Burgers do you eat, Ravi?
In a year?
In a year. 365 days.
Probably under 25.
Huh.
Probably about 25.
I mean, if I say like one every 2 weeks, which is kind of almost where I'm coming in.
All right.
That seems a slightly high, 15 to 20, but I probably make 10 to 12 on the grill for myself. So that only leaves me a half a dozen or so to order at restaurants. And I think that's probably right. Yeah. 17.
I don't think I probably do one every 2 weeks.
He and I were talking about it. It was
every 3 weeks. Yeah. Every 3 weeks.
You burgers I eat.
I
like them.
I will say though, every once in a while, and I know you said you don't do fast food burgers. There are a handful of, like, if I just want, I don't even know if this counts as a cheeseburger. Not in like a Runza way, but like there's just, and it's sort of a unique, like just the crappy McDonald's cheeseburger. Like sometimes I'm craving that.
Not a snowball.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Not
probably one a year, one fast food burger a year, and it's because there's no other option, or it's a special circumstance. I was handed one at a baseball game or a tailgate or something like that.
Mm. All right, Mitch. I want to play a clip for you. Is Dusty May, and he was talking about recruiting, and I thought it was interesting from a multitude of reasons. Maybe it's school specific. Maybe it's because he's where he is and his roster's already been constructed. You know, he referenced a coach that is, 25 years his senior in terms of his philosophy. So I thought that dynamic was interesting. I want to know if you rather be in the retention or acquisition business, and who would it be geared towards after you hear this clip? Fellas, play the clip from Coach May for Mitch.
Now more than ever, we used to choose players and we used to convince them to come play for us, whether it's because we were showering them with attention or we showed them more love or we'd simply been recruiting them longer. Now the players, and each coach may have a different opinion, but the players are choosing us. And when we make contact with the player, the first thing they do is slide into the DMs and the messages of all of our players that we coach currently and the players that we've coached in the past, and they do more homework and intel on us than we do on them. And so I know that's spinning in a number of different directions, but just recruiting's changed so much. And I'm going to echo Coach Barnes from Tennessee last week. It's not that bad. We used to recruit guys for 3 years and spend 80, 100, 200 man hours away from our families begging these 15 to 18-year-olds to come play at our university, and then they decide to go in another direction. And you just think of all the time and resources you've wasted. And so recruiting has definitely been streamlined, and it's much more efficient than it's ever been.
Fair, foul, or in an advantageous position.
Yeah, that's one of those. It's one of those sound bites where if you had read it, you would be like, "What an entitled, piece of what." Like the players choose us, we don't choose them. But the way he's saying it, like it comes. I understand what he's saying. They are Michigan after all. Like if you're Michigan or you're Duke, that's kind of the way it goes. That is not how most of the other people live. Like I think in most of college sports, whether it's basketball or football, whatever, like you're still courting the players. But yeah, I mean that's the situation. And I think that's a great way to differentiate between like the upper crust of a sport, and just being like a Power 4 kind of bigwig, but not at the level of Michigan, where you're still recruiting. I mean, he may almost makes it sound like we got to let people down. Like we got all the 5 stars and all the top players in the portal wanting to come to Michigan, and we just have to let them. They choose us. We don't choose them. That's if you just read it, I think that's how it would come off. But he does say it with a little bit of humility, kind of. I think I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt there. And obviously there's other factors like the money part of it. Like, why are players choosing Michigan? Well, because they want to have a chance to win a national championship. Yeah. But they also know they can get paid a lot because Michigan sits at the top as far as the resources that it has. So that's, I don't know that there's a whole lot of coaches out there. If you took a poll of the 300 and some head coaches in basketball who would share that thought.
Would you rather be in the retention or acquisition business?
I think it depends on who you are, but like if you're in Nebraska, you want to get into a cycle where retention is the thing, where retention is the key. Where if you can bring back and have continuity on your roster, that's something that can separate you. Nebraska undeniably benefited in this most recent basketball season because of retention and continuity and leadership and intangibles that the play. And it's not like people were out there like hitting up the phones of Sam Hoiberg and Rink Mast. Those might be two of the least. No one was attempting to poach them, like for different reasons. And that's a rarity. Like if you have players who are that valuable to a team that made it to the Sweet 16, you may never. Fred Hoiberg could coach 50 more years, and he might not run into a spot where his 2 most valuable guys were as easy to retain as the 2 of them. They were not going anywhere last offseason. One of them was just trying to be able to get on the court and play, and the other is his son. So that's a unique circumstance. And retention was not a big thing. It was easy, but it's not usually going to be easy. And Nebraska definitely has to step up here and seems to be doing that in this portal cycle, which is now underway, to keep the players on its roster who it most needs to retain. And that's really important. That's where it starts. Like before you can go out and start picking and choosing out of the portal and finishing up your roster, or even finding huge important pieces that can allow you to win in the NCAA tournament, the number one thing you got to do is keep your most important players.
Mitch, as you kind of look at the season that Nebraska had, and as you mentioned, the transfer portal opens today, or is opened as of today, do you think Nebraska will have access to a different level of player this year than they have in years past?
Yeah.
And B, do you think they need to be a little bit cautious about making sure they're getting the right players, not just the highest profile players?
I don't think that's going to be an issue with Fred Hoiberg and this staff. Like, I think that's at the front of their mind as they go into the portal, because they have been through the experience of putting together a roster that where it wasn't all the right fit. And that was somewhat out of their control. Like, they had to take what was available to them in the early years at Nebraska. And in a lot of cases, it wasn't a roster that fit together well and had any chance at all to be better than the sum of its parts. So as much as any staff in the Big Ten, I think that Nebraska already has learned that lesson. Maybe didn't even need to learn it, but knows that lesson. Fred Hoiberg probably came to Nebraska understanding that. It was just a matter of being able to execute it in the way that he has in the last few years. So no, I'm not concerned about losing sight of what fueled this run this year, which definitely was fit and chemistry and intangibles. As far as having access to better players, yeah, to a degree. They had access to Price Sanford last year, who was a pretty important player. Like, are they going to be able to go in the portal this cycle?
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like,
can they go get another first team all Big Ten guy? I don't know. Like, that's asking a lot, but I do think that like on the average, there'll be more players who are willing to look at Nebraska, one, because of the success that they had and seeing them on that stage in the Sweet 16, and then two, because of the money that they have. And that's a slippery slope, because as Nebraska's money goes up, so do so do the resources of its peers. And you can't slide into a situation where you think, okay, we increased our salary pool by 80% or whatever, so we can get an 80% better player. Like, no, because other programs are increasing as well, and some of them are probably increasing at a higher rate than what you are. No matter who if you're Nebraska basketball, there's always going to be somebody out there who's spending more and increasing at a higher rate.
All right, let me ask you something here, Mitch, because I don't know if it's like the inverse or we're going to come up with some sort of equation, but you got to factor in expectation level, and somewhere in there is results. We've seen different standards along the way, but it seems like ultimately it's boiled down to winning, right? Coach Ravel on a historic run, even though she's been a model of consistency, there was that period where it was like, oh gosh, we lost a couple of recruits. Jordy's going to Oklahoma. We need to evaluate what's going on with Coach Ravel, with Bill Moose, and Coach Ravel is very open and honest now about what that period meant. We've seen with Coach Bolt with reallocations of funds and 40 roster spots, and then coming off of 2023 to what happened last year, and then they go on a run. Basketball, where it was, how you're keeping Coach Hoiberg. We don't care enough about the sport, and we talked about the record. Ravi mentioned in passing, we didn't think about Bryce Sanford the way we did. It was a guy that Iowa didn't want, and we thought he was a little one-dimensional. We weren't super patient with guys like Frager. We didn't really value Hoiberg until
all miscalculations.
It became cool to do so. Clearly, football has some similarities to basketball, but we don't really like to acknowledge that because I think the expectation levels clearly are different. Maybe the likability of the coaches are clearly different. There's a lot. Amy Williams, extremely likable. People like their roster a lot better than I think the results maybe yielded. So the Q rating is definitely a thing. Where do you put win totals, expectations? Like, how would that equation look to you on whether something's acceptable during a time period for sports to develop a culture?
Well, I think there's a direct correlation between, and you saw it, this Fred Hoiberg's team this year was it can be the case study that Nebraska coaches, and if other schools are willing to do it, they can hold up as well as like the scenario that you want to achieve, where the priorities in roster construction are not just accumulating talent. And I don't know that there's a formula that exists yet within the Nebraska athletics landscape where you can say, hey, take this model that Fred Hoiberg illustrated and apply it to volleyball. Take it and apply it to softball or baseball or football. Like, they all have their own, this is something that I think has to be taken into consideration. They all have their own challenges and circumstances and unique situations. Like, what works for one sport, what works for a sport where you have 8 players who play and 15 on the roster does not necessarily work for a sport where you have 50 players who play and 100 on the roster. Like, they're totally different situations. Like, take the expectations and the history out of it. Like, just the roster construction piece and the dynamics and the numbers and the how the math works. Like, they're totally different challenges. So I think there's a temptation right now to look at basketball or look at softball or baseball, what's going on, and talk about like huge changes in the way that you've got to approach roster construction, like with Will Bolt going from 11.7 scholarships one year to like maybe 15 or 16 in this year, and then you have 34 next year. Like, that sounds great on paper, but there's some danger that comes with that too, because you don't want to mess up a good thing. So I just think like that they're all unique to themselves, and there are certain aspects that you could take from the way that John Cook built his program and the way that Fred Hoiberg built this team, and you can apply them across the board to all teams, but you have to understand what you're looking at. It's in a lot of cases it's apples and oranges.
Mitch, as we're kind of having this conversation about like player acquisition, player retention, and I know the differences between flipping a football roster and a basketball roster, I think are very well put there. But as you kind of look at do you see similarities between Hoiberg and Rule just on like Hoiberg year 7 obviously looks different than Rule after year 3. But if you look at the same, both inherited programs that have been struggling, obviously you've got maybe a little bit slower run up, or, in Hoiberg's case, a lot slower run up to what they ended up being. Like, are there some similarities there in the way you think they've gone about things, even though the process of football versus basketball is kind of inherently different?
Yeah, I mean, if you look hard enough, and you don't have to look that hard here, but if you look hard enough, I think you can find similarities between any two situations, within reason. And you don't necessarily have to look that hard here with what Rule is trying to do and what Hoiberg has done. They are both, and this is what I would focus on. They are both humble enough to be willing to admit that they need to change. They needed to change things, that they needed to make changes within the leadership, within the coaching staff, within the way that they made a run at success, like whether it's style of play or roster makeup, whatever it is. Like Fred clearly made some changes, and some of those were dictated to him. Some of those were a result of the circumstances and having gone through a year that was like a wasted year at the worst time with COVID. And then some of them were just smart decisions that he made. And you see that Matt Rule is willing to do a lot of that same stuff. He's not averse. He's not to saying, "Hey, this was a miscalculation," like what we did with our defensive coordinator or our defensive coaching staff. And I'm stepping into embracing a new direction. And then the other thing that they have are bosses in both cases. It was Trev Alberts when Hoiberg seemed to be stuck in neutral, and it's true. Not that Rule is in that place. Like he's had the two most winning seasons the last 2 years. The most success that Nebraska's football has had in the last decade have come the last 2 years, save for 2016. So the situations are different, but still there have been struggles, and those struggles are obvious. And all you have to do is look at the end of the last season to say, like, you need to have some patience. And both of them have had bosses who are willing to be patient and willing to believe in their coaches. So to me, that like those similarities are relevant, and should lead to some optimism that Rule can. It's not the same path, but that he can follow a path that produces similar results to what we've seen with Fred Hoiberg.
It's interesting, and that's about as objective as I think you're going to hear it from a media member, right? Mm-hmm. Where I should probably crop that, so because it leads me to the question of, and you were real matter of fact in how you said it. You're like, this is the best back-to-back years since save the 16.
Yeah, back-to-back, it's the best since 13 and 14.
Mm-hmm. And and for Coach Hoiberg, it was those first 3 years, they were all-time lows,
mm-hmm.
versus Nebraska trending in the right direction from a football standpoint.
Nebraska won 22 games 2 years before Fred Hoiberg took over. Just
so, not to ask a leading question, but does it boil down to expectations?
It has a lot to do with it, yeah.
I'm trying to find something else on why we're so negative.
Well, that's just what have you done for me lately kind of deal, and it's hard. It's really hard, I think, for media, for fans, for people nationally who are neither of those,
mm-hmm.
fit into neither of those categories. It's really hard to look at the way the season ended for Nebraska football and say, yeah, I feel great. I feel great about the way. You can feel great about 7 wins if you want to feel great about 7 wins. That's fine. You can feel good about the fact that Nebraska accomplished what it accomplished and was without its most important player for the last month of the season. And if you want to say like they get a pass because their QB was hurt, fine. I don't agree with that. Like, I think you have to be prepared for those kind of circumstances and don't put yourself in a position where it's that fragile. But yeah, the negativity to me, it just boils down to the way that the season ended. And like some of this stuff is like mushroomed on top of itself in the off season. Like people have gone, and this happens in negative moments. People have just gone looking for different reasons to be able to group an observation that in a number of observations that they make into the category of negative. Like there have been things that have happened, and you can look back through last season and say, all right, I'm going to be, I'm going to be glass half empty about that, and I'm going to put a negative spin on it because now I have the knowledge of knowing how the season ended with 3 lopsided defeats. What I mean by that is like you can look back at Matt Rule and how he approached the season, how he approached the during the season and say, man, he was focused on a lot of things. This is again the negative way of looking at it. He was focused on a lot of things that didn't have to do with the immediate success of the football team. Like he was out there promoting his program. He was doing, national media things. He had his podcast. Like looking back on that with the hindsight of knowing how the season ended, you can put a negative spin on that. And people certainly have done that.
And he'd tell you you talk too much.
But if the ended, and I don't think it had anything to do with the way the season ended. I don't think the fact that he talked too much or whatever had anything to do with Dylan Raiola getting hurt, with the defense getting exposed, with the way the schedule set up so that they had 3 teams that were tough matchups, or at least 2 teams in the regular season that were tough matchups, stacked on top of each other. Like to me, they're unrelated. But if you want to choose to be negative, you can make them related. Just like if the thing had ended on a positive note, you could look at all of the stuff that happened off the field through the offseason and into the season and say that was a positive. So it just like it's a snowball effect with how you get to this place now where a lot of stuff is viewed negatively.
So would you look at November? Right, because what you're describing, I don't disagree with at all. Right, momentum's a real thing. Kind of how you finish is how you feel, which would lead to some of the pessimism heading into 2026 because the way November looks on paper. If you were gonna surmise an elixir, quick fix, would you simply say finish better?
Well, if it coincides with the strong start, sure. And this doesn't seem to be the kind of year where Nebraska is going to dig itself a big hole in September. But you never know. Like you never know how it's going to go. You didn't think that in 2 years ago or 3 years ago that Jeff Sims was going to come out and commit all of those turnovers at the beginning of the season. So it's hard to predict how the beginning of a year is going to go. But if Nebraska can like hold serve in the first 5 games of the year, then it's a simple yes as saying fix November. If they do both of those things, then people are going to be happy in bowl season.
That's
interesting.
Yeah, I am trying to. That's a really interesting way to put this because I think you're right in that you have to marry a strong finish with a good, at least a good enough start. It seems like the way the season finished had such an outsized impact on how we feel about everything. And I get what it looked like, right? I do. But I don't know. It just seems like we're totally unable to remove ourselves from how that made us feel versus maybe what it would look like from a 30,000-foot view. Is that fair?
I'm sorry, Mitch, but not to play
go ahead.
Not to play devil's advocate, but I would say 98% of the time, how you finish is how you really feel. We're not usually even when it's us and we're in control, we're not real good at like the self-awareness part. We kind of just bottom line it. It doesn't really matter what it is. right? Whether it's mowing the yard, whether it's grocery shopping, whether it's intimacy, like how we finish is typically how we feel. Like I don't think that's rocket science. I can see the importance.
Yeah, November matters. Mattered last year. It matters again in 2026. Like it's kind of become a complex a little bit because it's not just that Matt Rule is 2-10 in the month of November in 3 seasons. It predates. It goes back into the previous regime, which isn't fair to Rule to hold that against him. But Nebraska fans live with that pain, so they to like fully get past like some of the things that are the Nebraska fans are struggling with right now, and that the program is struggling with as far as its perception. Like you're gonna have to, however it goes, you're gonna have to have a strong month of November, and that's always going to be challenging because of the Big Ten and the way the scheduling works and the fact that no matter what, you got Iowa sitting there. Like until Iowa turns into something that it's not right now, that's going to be one game that's always really difficult. Can Nebraska win it? Yeah, absolutely. But usually there's a great team, like a traditionally great team on the schedule in November, whether it's like a USC or an Ohio State, and then you have Iowa. November's tough. And the playing conditions are tough. Like it's just like tough guy football. And Nebraska's still working. They're still working. They're not. That's a nice way of saying it. They're still working to get to that place where they're a tough guy football program.
Yeah, it's interesting too because like the coach or the player in me would say fudge. Like I agree.
Like
right?
Fudge.
Finishing it because it's hard because finishing is. And how you feel, I think, is a real thing, right? You have to be better in November. You have to be able to beat. You need a quality win on your resume, but I can't in my head fast forward to not being able. Like you have to be able to go to Champaign and win. Right? Like you can't do anything.
In September or October, whatever. Right? You have to be able to go to Champaign or Madison and win.
You have to go to East Lansing and you have to win those games. Right? Now I'm all for needing to defend your yard, right? Like you have got to guard your yard, but I can't really get past that. You know what I mean? You can't go to Minneapolis and play that way. You just can't.
Absolutely. That plays into the discussion about being a tough guy football program. It's not just tough on the field, like, hey, get in the weight room and get tougher. It's toughness. I'm talking about like the full ball of wax. Like it's a mentality as much as it is a physical thing.
It's real quick.
Yep.
Mitch, do you think that was our favorite part of Nebraska basketball? Was their mental toughness?
Yeah, it was.
Or what
mental toughness was a big part of. To me, my favorite part was the overall the mindset, and yeah, mental toughness was like probably 80% of that.
That's our guy, Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Mitch, appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
That's Mitch Sherman. Coming up next, we got Nate Rohr, Husker play-by-play voice for softball. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. Hurrdat Sports Live.
I mean, obviously we've had a lot of conversations with that, Wilson, and we feel good. We feel really good about the core group of guys that we will have back next year. And, those conversations are ongoing, exactly what it's going to look like. But we feel good about the initial talks that we've had. That's the biggest thing is retention. When you look at our team from last year, a lot of those guys have played significant roles were guys that were in our program and guys that knew the culture, the standard, and everybody that came in, really lived up to that. And a lot of that was because of the returners, and they let them know what was expected. So very important that we get those guys back, and we feel really good that we're going to have a good group of core returners that will be back in a Husker uniform next year.
I think going into it, I knew Sydney was down, so I just kind of made sure to rely on everyone around me and making sure that I kept communicating with them. They kept communicating with me, just making sure that I could go out there and just know what I know I can do. Honestly, I go into every game thinking I'm going to play no matter what. I think that's kind of an important mindset to have. You never know what's going to happen in game, so if I'm mentally ready the whole time, nothing really changes.
Yeah, I think it's like BMO said. Obviously, you have to be ready at all times. You never know how a game's going to go. A game might be like Atlanta, where Lonnie played phenomenal, and a game might be like tonight. And I think just that mindset going into it. But I also think it starts in practice of like continuing to try and find little ways to get better. And I get to play with BMO a lot, so I think that was an advantage for me. Is like we have a good connection because we have been together, and so just trusting that. And BMO was great coming in, communicating with me, and like she said, just continuing to communicate throughout.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's CBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Nate Rohr.
Actually, we're still waiting for him.
Still waiting for him? Okay, just kidding.
Well, Nate must be busy. He
said he just got out of a meeting, so.
Oh, yeah. I have to ask him about
and
that.
And actually, he's logging in now, so we should be able to get to him here.
All right, we'll wait on old Nate Dog. There he is.
How we doing, gentlemen?
Nate, how we doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm great. How are you guys?
Good. Is this our first time?
I believe it is. Yes. Happy to join you guys this morning. I get up early like you guys do down here on KLIN, but happy to join you now that I've fulfilled my duties for 1400.
That is outstanding. I'm like, I don't know if it's like a proud peacock or I'm super happy, but like you've done this a long time and you're watching kind of the evolution of this program. Coach Ravel, Coach Sipple, they've almost flown under the radar with her consistency. You gotta feel pretty good, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen how hard this program has worked, and this has been a consistently good program, but historically we've found it difficult to break through from our wonderful diehard core of fans who are with us every year, no matter what. But we've had trouble crossing over to the more general sports fan. And there are a variety of reasons for that. I mean, we play half our season on the road to start. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you look at our schedule, we only have 3 home games left. So the folks don't get to see much of us. We exist a little bit in volleyball shadow, because they've been excellent for so long. When you've got excellent for so long next to really good for so long, excellent for so long stands up a bit higher. And then, we also battle with baseball because they're an everyday sport or, a 4-day-a-week sport. And there are conflicts between the two to where, the stage is not really ours to ourselves for our conference games. So this team has to be really good to capture a general sports fan's attention. And this team has been that good. I mean, you beat number 1 twice, top 5 in the RPI even right now. So it feels good that this team is getting the attention and the excitement that they deserve.
Nate, as you kind of talk about breaking through there, not just, and I started thinking not just with the fan base, but also just in terms of the program itself. Like you said, been a very good program for a long time, but obviously he's been able to elevate this year, top 10 all year, top 5 now in the country. And obviously the players that have been acquired like that's a big part of this, right? But where have you seen the groundwork laid that allowed them to be ready when those players that kind of could take them to the next level started to become available?
Well, I think it all started when Rhonda Revelle came through the investigation that was around the program the summer of 2019. The culture of the program wasn't as strong, and some of it was the players that were in place at the time, and some of it was Rhonda reevaluating how she went about building that culture. And so the team goes through the 2021 season, and toward the end of that year, you saw Courtney Wallace, you saw Olivia Farrell, and you saw Carly Sievers really step up as leaders in this program. And those 3 really pushed this thing forward to where culturally they could handle this. Because, from a culture standpoint, you wonder, if there hadn't been a real reevaluation of how things were operating, could this program withstand Jordy Ball coming in? Could this program withstand Nebraska going out and getting a lot of transfers? And, you look at someone like Caitlin Kaneda, she had established herself as a really good player. And then Nebraska not only goes out and gets Jordy Fromm, but they also get Ava Kuzak from the transfer market to play short. They get Lauren Kamenzen from the transfer market to play second. And yet, Caitlin Kaneda has had a top-notch attitude, a top-notch willingness to work in this program, stay positive, stay motivated, and stay ready. And she was really important in that Michigan series. So I think it really started with that tri-captain set in 2022, digging the dirt work, getting the program in the right place mentally, and then they were able to build, and they were fortunate essentially to get a second shot at Jordy Fromm, because remember, Jordy had committed to Nebraska initially, and it was Fromm's decommitment that brought the investigation of the summer of 2019 to light. And so when Jordy went down to Oklahoma and played down there, when she came back, the infrastructure was there for her to thrive and succeed in this program to continue to build.
It's so fascinating and I need to probably do a better job of not trying to connect the dots, but the player coach in me, I started about the same time as Nebraska's Coach Ravel got that job with Coach Sipple. I love high school I love softball in general. High school softball is pretty close to my heart here. I knew the level of in-state talent. I was around a ton covering it when Jordy was in high school. How important is it as we talk about the Alexis Jensens of the world and Nebraska's ability to procure in-state talent? How cool is it, or how key is it that it coincides, Nate, with Nebraska's rise and success too, that there is like this local, we knew this state was really good at producing softball players. Coach Ravel is now starting to reap the benefits. And as you mentioned, the second time around with then Jordy Ball, now Jordy Fromm.
Yeah, it's important that this program be in a place that people want to come back to it. And you look at all the people that they've gotten second shots at, not just Jordy, but also the Cammonson sisters and Bella Bacon. I mean, you're talking about 3 of your starters there, or 2 starters, and then Bacon is essentially a halftime starter. And so your program needs to build from your in-state talent and needs to be a place that in-state players want to play at. They're the people that are going to feed your next generation. You're going to recruit people from their clubs, from their high school programs. And you look at it, and Nebraska has 3 freshmen this year. They're all from Gretna. And they've recruited the Nebraska Gold program extensively. And so the fact that they have been able to find success with in-state players, I think, can be a real force multiplier on a number of levels, because you're talking about getting the best out of your own state, having a strong relationship with a club that's just down the road, and you're also talking about people who start out thinking about wanting to play for you. Whereas, Nebraska's recruited the Corona Angels program extensively over the last 10, 15 years. And it's been an important and very valuable relationship. But when you go out to Southern California, you're battling UCLA, you're battling Oregon, you're battling Washington. If you're starting at home, they already have a lean toward you, and you play from ahead.
Now, it's so fascinating to when you talk about the state, because if a rising tide truly lifts all boats, for student athletes, and they play each other, and I think it's so cool. And I'm a huge Coach Hurd fan, but quietly, can you see the correlation, the level of importance to like what Omaha softball is doing versus Nebraska softball? Because I do think there is this competition and there's this mutual respect that I think has been sensational for both programs. And it's strange in softball that we get to recognize Omaha and kind of how integral it's been.
Yeah, it's been good for Nebraska softball. I think that Omaha has risen. It has stepped up Nebraska's game. There are just very practical things where it's good for Omaha, especially to be good from the standpoint that, you don't want your midweek games to be RPI sucks. You don't want, and when you look, especially, I mean, I'm watching the RPI rankings, and Nebraska is falling a spot or two despite winning, because the rest of the Big Ten is so weak in the RPI. So if you're going to play somebody, and Nebraska will play Omaha annually, the question is, do you play them a lot? Just the fact that they're good helps you. It also helps you from the standpoint of hosting regionals. I mean, we've seen in volleyball, and we've seen in baseball to an extent, that they try to keep teams very geographically close. And so this year, it's not going to be a big factor because Nebraska is a top 16 team. I think we can sit there and say that right now. But if you're sitting there 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and they're looking, well, do we want to give Lincoln a host? They look at Omaha as a team they can bust down here very easily. So there's that value. And I think Omaha being good while I don't know it necessarily helps Nebraska, it's a signal that that softball in the state is good, because, you know, as much as we would love every single good in-state player to come play for the Huskers, that's just not a reality. So if Omaha is good, that says that there's a lot of talent in this state. There's a lot of competition in this state, and it's not just one or two or a couple players that are driving the thing up. There's just a lot of good players, and we only had spots for 3 or 4.
Hey, you mentioned kind of the RPI suck games and parts of the schedule where it drains, you know, it kind of drains the life out of your resume a little bit here. And I'm curious if you've kind of noticed, like, there's a certain, like, I have a certain level of respect for whether it's baseball. Baseball's in a very similar position, as you said, baseball or softball, where there's a different level of focus you have to have, because let's be honest, you run into the wrong pitcher in either sport and you can lose that game super easily, and people understand that, but it still dings you in the metrics because the metrics don't factor in, you know, a lot of nuance there when it comes to individual matchups. Like, how dialed in does this team have to be on a just day-to-day basis to not allow that to happen and kind of be able to compile this gaudy record that they've been able to?
Yeah, they've had to maintain their level of focus. And to that end, I mean, Rhonda Revelle scheduled, I think, the toughest non-conference schedule in the country this year. And so that really kept this team focused and really required them to be great from the beginning, and especially for a northern school where you don't get a lot of outside practice time, where you're not practicing on dirt, which is a factor with your defense, with your infield defense, or even, you know, practicing outside and seeing flight of the ball against the sky, everything else. You have to be locked in and at the top of your game right at the beginning if you're scheduled the way Nebraska did. And I think more to the point of what you're talking about of bringing your best no matter who you're playing, that's sort of the other side of the coin that Nebraska is having to dip into, because, you know, Rutgers is a scrappy team. They're a team that has challenged good teams, but, you know, they're not an opponent that grabs you, that raises your pulse. And so you need to be locked in and focused, and Nebraska's being able to do that. You know, Michigan State's another example. Nebraska went up there and dominated that series despite it being dreary, despite Michigan State not being all that good. I think they have one win in conference. So it does take a different mental focus against teams that quite frankly you ought to be able to beat with your B-, C+ sort of game.
Yeah, I'm a total nerd, Nate, self-admittedly, and that's why I rely on, you know, Jessica or, you know, Matt Smith. We were riding to the bowl game in New York, you know, on the same bus, and we're talking softball, right? I'm dead. You can ask Matty. He's hilarious, and you know, this year we were talking about kind of some adjustments that they need to make and shoring up the middle infield. And Jess is like, hey, you know, I've got it on some good information that, you know, getting Farrell out of the portal, they're strong up the middle. She's going to be outstanding. And I'm paying attention to Nebraska defensively up the middle. All the pitchers, rightfully so. They get a ton of the accolades. It's as good a probably 1A punch as there might be in the country. I get it. It's OKC or bust, but how good was Nebraska in terms of addressing what they needed to out of the portal, where she got a chance, Coach Revelle got a chance to actually supplement what's already a pretty strong roster.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jessie Farrell, the Husker catcher, has plugged in. She's hit at a high level. She's handled this pitching staff very well. And don't be fooled. I mean, Jordy Fromm has worked with great catchers throughout her career, OU and Nebraska. So there's a certain expectation level. There's a certain trust that needs to be built. And then there's almost an entirely different skill set that's needed for Farrell to work with Alexis Jensen, because you're talking about a freshman, yes, a very confident and competent freshman, but she's a freshman. She's not used to everything that happens in college softball, knowing scouting reports, having to use your secondary pitch as well. So just getting those two going, that's its own skill set. And then she's hit at a really high level. Yeah. She's been a little slowed by injuries, which is a shame, but she's hit at a high level. The other transfer addition, Hannah Core, has been terrific. I mean, Nebraska may have lacked
middle defense.
Yep. You build your team up in the middle. And Nebraska lacked a little bit in outfield defense last year. And all you need to do is flip on the highlight reel and see all the home run robbing catches she's made. Then she has a terrific arm. She gets to a lot of balls. And I think her bat has come around in a pleasantly surprising way. She never got regular at-bats at Oklahoma. She was mainly a defensive sub and a pinch runner, and she would start here and there. So she started slow this year because it was the first time she was in the starting lineup every day. But the last month and a half, she's been a really tough out, and that adds another dynamic to this offense.
Yeah, especially getting up. I mean, right around 315, 316 on the season.
Right.
I didn't see that coming either. All right, I'll get you out on this. Apparently, it's okay, right? We thought this was going to be a really good team. They've openly embraced OKC or bust. What is it about this team's temperament that has allowed them to openly talk about the big picture? A lot of teams are afraid to do that.
Sure. Well, it's a veteran team. I mean, you're never going to have a more veteran team than this with 12 seniors. You have, and the vast majority of this roster went to a super regional last year and got within a run of going to Oklahoma City. So even the people that have been here since day one, they've gotten close. And then you've got Jordy Fromm, who's been to the mountaintop twice. You've got Hannah Core, who's been a national champion multiple times. And you just have so much experience and so much knowledge throughout this roster that they know what it takes, but they also know where they need to keep that thought. I don't think the big thought of going to Oklahoma City scares this team because they know there are a lot of steps between then and now, and it's all about one pitch at a time. Rhonda Revelle emphasized that in her preseason comments to the media and to the fans. Just one pitch at a time, take care of what's in front of you. And they've seen, there's proof of concept. They've seen they beat the defending national champs. They beat the team that lost to the champs in the national finals. So they can look at this and say, we're that sort of team if we just stay focused on what's in front of us. And I think that it's a veteran enough team to where they keep it in the right place, where they know, okay, this is a lot of talk. It's fun. It's certainly something that's on our minds. We got to stay locked in on the next pitch.
That's Nate ROHR, play-by-play voice for Nebraska softball. Nate, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it, and we look forward to watching some more terrific softball down the stretch here.
Nate, would it have been corny to ask for a third down?
It's third down. I could give you a little more, but there's a little something there. Hey, thanks for having me, guys, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks, Nate.
Great.
He's great.
Great stuff there from Nate. It's it's a good time. It's a good spring to be a Nebraska athletics fan. Got some quality bat and ball going on both sides of things.
Bad ball. Bad ball.
It's a nice little run there on here.
Trying to be well rounded. Nice get, Shane.
Are we?
I'm just glad you asked for the third down call. Thank you.
Are we okay with? Are we okay fast forwarding to Oklahoma City or bust?
I mean, I think it's not a secret. They're really good.
Yeah, no, I mean they've beaten two different number one teams this year.
Yeah, and they've got some
and
depth.
They played UCLA and beat UCLA. Like they're good.
Yeah. I see Nate all the time on the 6th floor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what?
Just kind of passing around.
We've never talked to Nate on the show.
We haven't. That's our first time.
I kept it. I did not.
You did. You stayed on the rails.
I did not stray from topics.
Straight and narrow.
Thank you. officially all grown up, but not really.
If you strayed topics, where would you go?
Yeah.
Or is that for the next interview?
Next interview. Maybe we'll just keep it at like media food and fraternizing on the 6th floor. Generally speaking.
What kind of media food we doing here?
So I was, for the spring game, it was pretty standard. It was just pizza. It's not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't eat it anyway, but
well, yeah, you're not going to eat.
Yeah. I wonder what happened to I don't do very many nice things for my radio team, even though I should. So I decided to bring them breakfast.
Okay.
But it was Hurrdat's Donuts, and I think I bought too many.
Why is that?
Well,
people didn't eat them all or what?
So our place is big into like cutting stuff in half. I just think I'm used to being around gluttons where they just eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
So they'll take all day to eat a dozen donuts.
Yeah, I think that's people being a little bit too polite. You know?
Well, I mean, I don't know. The place that I went to is big donuts.
No, I know. They got some.
I let Zoe pick them out too.
Oh, did she pick some like exotic ones? Because isn't that the place that has some crazy ones?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
They
do.
got some cake to their donuts.
Yeah, and that's when I made the mistake. I actually thought I was doing the pregame in studio, but we were really doing it in the press box.
Oh yeah.
Which isn't a far walk. It's not like going to the wrong stadium in
Minneapolis.
But I was like, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed those because I didn't want to be too whatever. I wonder what they did with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I asked Jess during the broadcast, I was like, Jess, hey, I got you. I was like, do you like such and she's like, no, not really a donut eater. KC never came over there. Ben was doing baseball.
That's tough.
I'm like, okay, Camden, Josh, you guys are up.
The crew.
Rush, you guys, I don't know, Cassie eat a donut?
Oh, I don't know her. Maybe.
I don't know.
You don't got to worry about that around here. You bring food here, it's gone.
I know. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Like we anytime you bring anything up here, it's out of here.
Enrico, help me make this math as a Lincolnite. So I went to said place. Zoe's donut cost $3 solo. And I got this epiphany. I was like, let's take care of the crew. I'm gonna call Josh. And I got a dozen for $21. I should have just thrown her donut in there.
Yeah.
Does that seem right?
It depends.
They give deals for when you get more.
Yeah, but it goes from $3 to less than $2. That's pretty aggressive.
That's aggressive on a donut. Yeah, Zoe's fruity pebble.
Which one did she get?
She got the exotic ones, and then she got normal ones for.
Well, they all seem kind of exotic. There's very little.
Like,
do you know where I'm talking about, right?
Yes, I do. It's downtown.
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Close to the mill.
They have one by my house.
You can get a fruity
Right,
pebble
they-
donut.
Shane, you lose your mind. You'd lose your
I
mind.
eat like a little kid, so
you'd love it.
They have.
I think I got a cinnamon toast crunch one.
Listen, I like some of that
sounds
stuff. It's
outstanding.
aggressive even for me.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like it's a lot for me.
There was a caramel delight.
I don't know what we're doing, man. That's a lot.
Oh god,
Those donuts will send Ravi into shock.
Yeah, we'd have a problem.
I looked at it like 3 times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I talked myself out of it. Oh, it probably tastes more like butterscotch. It's not the real caramel. I was like, good thing I don't eat on game days.
Allegedly.
Zoe was like, just do it, Dad. Just do it. I was like, no, I'm good.
She's a little devil on your shoulder.
She is. Naughty girl.
I love it.
Yeah, you guys. So she was only in here like 3 minutes yesterday, and you guys are yucking it up. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's
You
not.
didn't share grapes with me.
I'm like, that's not good. That's not good. They're the same person.
I would say I was expecting them to vibe.
To hit it off.
Yeah, that's not surprising at all.
She's only a year older than my oldest.
Man, Godspeed. Godspeed.
And she only acts a year younger than you.
Exactly. I mean, we're like the same person.
It's about right.
I was asking her about you standing up, and I was just like, does he do this at home? She goes, yeah, he never sits down. She's like, we go over to grandma's, and she's just like, she did the voice. She goes, Damon, sit down.
Yeah, she does say that. I was just there yesterday, and she goes, would you sit down and relax? No.
That's not a part of the Not part of the repertoire.
Tomorrow, remind me to get back to JP, Japanese prison balls baseball takes.
The Roberto Alomar one's not terrible. I don't think it's definitive, but Roberto Alomar is in the same neighborhood as a player as Derek Jeter is.
Okay.
Now, shortstop harder than second base, so that matters.
Okay. I'm not saying his take was outlandish. I think as a guy that knows, apparently knows sports, I just would I like the dialogue. We don't have to agree.
The definitive nature of his statement, I thought, was probably a little aggressive.
The greater than symbol?
No, that was Omar Vizquel.
That was Vizquel, and I was like,
he said like Roberto Alomar definitely or definitively or so. Like I think they are very similar as players.
Yeah,
and I don't think perception wise we think that. Roberto Alomar was a great baseball player.
Shane, are we still working on Nuggets, Carolina, and baseball?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of moving over towards Fruity Pebble Donuts, but
I got you. Would that be your jam?
I don't know. It sounds pretty darn good though.
They have a lot. It's overwhelming.
Shane, there's one right over by us. There's one of those places. I'll show you where it's at.
Okay. Shane, would you pay $3 for a donut? Doesn't sound like you.
I'd do anything once.
No, but he'd eat that thing for like 4 days though.
Probably.
Like
Shane, are you a fork and knife guy for a donut?
No,
but I bet he would cut it and then eat it with his hand.
If he is, no judgment. I'm sorry. Feel free, because I have knife and fork to fritter, but it was purchased from Fremont and it was the size of my laptop.
I don't think you have a lot of room in this discussion here.
Why? Because of my wings?
As a fork and knife, a wing guy.
Yeah,
it's not like, you know what I mean. I don't think you have a lot of
almost like a mean thing to say to something. Are you a fork and knifer?
Well, you were with us.
Yeah,
it's hot. Whew.
Those wings was toasty.
It was hot. Whew.
Had to be ghost pepper wings.
It's like Rico, it's teriyaki.
I knew we were in trouble when he went on that bit.
Look, you put me in front of a camera, all bets are off.
It's been downhill ever since.
No, I think maybe we get some.
Shane, I got you, bud. I got you.
You know how far of a drive that is for him, Shane? Shane, it's down the street from you. Come on.
He's not going in there on his own. He doesn't even know it exists.
I know. I'm trying to tell him.
Oh, my man. He said he'll be back.
Can I eat donuts there?
We got to talk basketball portal too.
Oh, we will talk some basketball portal.
Because it's open and it is cracking.
Freeman and Davis in for Creighton. Looks like just Quentin Rhymes so far for Nebraska.
Yeah, and are you shocked Badunga is leaving?
Not necessarily. I mean, he's going to get paid aggressively.
He is. I am extremely worried about last year, Bill Self. But I have lots of those thoughts. We'll get to him tomorrow.
I mean, it's a weird situation. Like he's going to have to go portal shopping.
Janikowski's in a portal, according to Chucky Chuck. Another one of our basketball aficionados.
He's St. John's though, right? Formerly of Nebraska.
So is it? That's the rumor, Chuck. Is it? It's just open. I don't think they can land it, but Badunga going to to Tech.
If you're gonna if you're gonna assume somebody's gonna make like $5 million to play basketball, that's a pretty good guess.
Dude, the going rate for bigs,
it's crazy.
And it's like $2 million more than it was a year ago.
That's the wild part. Is the inflation of it is so aggressive. This is not sustainable.
Yeah, can't wait.
Did I say St. Thomas or I said St. John? St. Thomas, yeah. St. Thomas where Janowski was after a little pit stop in Nebraska.
Yeah. St. Thomas
they're pretty legit.
And they don't really have to be a stepping stone if they don't want to. They could win where they're at.
Only because of conference affiliation, I think is the
one bid league.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they are papered up.
Oh, 100%. Like they're at their high point of the Midwest.
Yeah.
Like they have unexplainable gobs of money for no reason at all.
Must be rough. I'm struggling to get a donut.
Chucky says $4 million for Badunga to Tech. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, that's the rumor.
Wild.
To be 6'11"
and bouncy.
Yeah. I wonder what 7'9" is gonna garner. What is 7'9"? Being 7'9"
Olivier Ryu
get you in the portal.
I think it gets you a nice NAI program. My man's can't move.
Wow. Throw it up.
I got it. No, you got to play some real slow down, though, to let him get up and down the floor, though. Like, you really got to four corners that thing until he's ready to. Doesn't move real big. It's not like he's Wemby out there. You know what I mean?
No.
Or even Mara. Mara moves pretty good.
Another hot take. How do you go like 40, 13, and 9 without a turnover against the defensive player of the year? That's what Jokic did.
He's pretty good. He's fine.
No turnovers.
He's fine.
Come on.
Overrated. That's because Jokic didn't have to guard Wemby at all that game.
Overrated?
Yeah, it's fine.
I forgot. Hot take Jokic guy over here.
We need to chill. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha.
Need to chill on Jokic. We will be back tomorrow. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla. Don't forget, give our friends over at Nextgen Male Medical a call, 402-614-9700. You know, so there's some people in the chat. Maybe it seems like they maybe need a little pick-me-up. You know, there's a lot of negativity. I think maybe they need a little attitude adjustment. Nextgen might be able to help there. You know, your team might be low. Maybe you need some vitamin B to get you back in better spirits. Whatever it is, they got you covered. They'll do a blood draw. They'll do a whole panel. They're not just trying to prescribe you some testosterone or whatever it is. They're trying to make you feel like the best version of yourself again. 402-614-9700. We will be back tomorrow with more Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.